Club going up on a Tuesday. It's 9 to noon. What's happening? Billy Schmid. Wow. Armin Sarian with me. John Kuhn.
You're good. You can call me anything you want, dog.
Yeah.
Drew Sarian.
No, it was going to be Drew Olson for some particular reason, which is funny because Drew Olson and I host Packers OT, and I never start the show.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I
Maybe
mean,
you
if
want to.
anybody would have that a part of their repertoire, it would be Drew. It would not be me introducing. However, instead, right now, peek behind the curtain. For the last 4 minutes, as we've been trying to get on air, I've been trying to figure out one of 3 different computers to work, none of which works.
Not one.
So we are
not 2.
off. And yeah, right? Not 3, not 4, not 5. So it is a chaotic, fun, happy start to 9 to noon with John Kuhn, two-time Super Bowl champion, Armin Sarian. I'm Billy Schmid, and you at the NicolaLaw.com talking text line at 414-799-1973, which Armin Sarian and John are going to have to monitor because I cannot see either.
We'll read them. It's all good. We're good to go. You know, this is how they did radio back in the 80s and 70s, Billy. Haven't you heard yet from the old heads?
Oh, my God.
old
Yeah, I've
heads
heard the
love talking
legendary
about it.
moments.
Yeah.
You guys don't even get out. We used to have to go to libraries for in college and research, and we had to look at books. We had to go and you had to see which letter the author would be, and you had to go find the book. So I've been hearing for a long time about how good I've got it as a 29-year-old.
The Dewey Decimal System. Those were good days.
That's what that was?
That's what that was with the big drawers. I used that too. I mean, you used it probably a little bit more, John, the Dewey Decimal System. For all the days
went to the librarian and said, hey, help me out find this book.
Where am I looking here? Yeah, can you move me around the way?
Where's the butterfly section? I have a science paper due.
You know, in college, I was so poor. I was so poor in college that I would buy the book from the bookstore, take it to the library, photocopy every page in it, and then take the book back.
That's a great idea.
Like the books?
That's a great call.
Like the ones you had for class?
The ones that they made you buy for $300 a piece.
That's brilliant because those, academically, the entire, the book racket, the books, that is a racket.
And it's a much smarter
talking
idea.
big book?
You're thinking, I can sell them back at the end of the semester. They're like, we'll give you a quarter.
They buy them back at like a fifth of the price.
Like worse than GameStop buying video games from you.
Exactly. Absolutely. Unless you have stock in them. Yeah,
and
but
if
you
you're
can't
trying
get
to
stock
sell
in
them back, you don't write anything in them.
No.
You can't even bend the pages for, to keep your spot. Like you got to.
That's why I just never bought anymore after like freshman year.
The end of my, near the end of my college
Probably
career,
wouldn't advise any college students to do that. It was not smart.
To not buy books.
It was not a good idea.
It's such a racket. And they come out with a new edition every year, so you can't buy them used. What happened was near the end of my college career, John, you might have been a little too old for this. They started
That's
basically
your second old joke towards John in 5 minutes.
Yeah, and I'm like 2 years older than him. Yeah, good call.
Wow.
There was basically a website.
Just because you're having your first child doesn't mean you that much younger than me.
But I'm sure there's an app for it now. I don't know about it, but there was a website, I think it was called Dog Ears, that could you could sell your books to other kids basically and undercut the whole process for a better deal, which
you
I
cut out
like.
that middleman, you make a lot more money.
Which
Sounds
was
like
great.
Craigslist.
Yeah, it was sort of like that, but it was specifically for people that needed to get their books. Here we go. Here comes Boss to save the day for you. There.
Oh, thanks, boss. Appreciate
right.
it. Thank you. Thank you. So now we have our third computer being dropped off for Tim Scott being able to let me see the talking text line.
More computers that don't work don't actually help. You actually need one computer that works.
Well, see, his could actually get on the internet, which is a good thing, which is a helpful endeavor of the process. That is a massive start here.
That's why you need a whole bullpen. You can't just survive with a great closer.
That's our selfless leader.
Red
Hot Tim Scott.
Well, what if Devin Williams goes down? You need Pagero. You need
fortunately or unfortunately for the station, Tim Scott is now out of the office for the rest of the day.
You need to reach Tim.
Early lunch break.
Yeah.
Oh, bummer. You need to use my computer? Well, cancel my meetings for today.
I was going to say, now, does that mean that I'm just going to get all the important emails just funneling right through here?
So distracted.
What you don't
know.
You're
going to get an email from KB. Hey, did the orange juice get filled up in the vending machine? You're going to get an email from Zabe. I don't understand why at Caddy Day I can't have 72 foursomes. What's going on here? You're going to get an email from me. Tim, did you fix Nooner Day yet? Is everything on schedule? You're going to get all kinds of emails today.
I think my favorite part is the size of this font, though. I mean, like this is dude, this is the easiest I've ever read messages. Maybe this has been the issue with my lack of reading comprehension for my entire life.
That might help.
Screen is not very efficient though.
3 messages. There's 3 texts that are coming up on each one of them. I'm scrolling through to be able to roll through. That's outstanding stuff.
Sushi in the Falls on the talking text line. He gave you the cheat sheet for the emails. Just respond working on it, and you're good to go all day.
I like Red Hot Tim Not. Yeah, bet you won't read that search history live on air. Company laptop, Tim. Come on, what is this guy talking about?
He's not doing it on the company laptop. Tim's too smart for that. Now, my question is, who would send the most email? This might be a Mike Heller poll question.
This is a great Heller staff poll question, no doubt about it.
Who sends the most emails in the whole station? I mean, I don't know. Josh probably send it in paragraphs. Hey, boss, here's the situation. I might be off this day. I might be off this day. Hey, Armin Sard. Hey, Tim. Did you have the producer schedule out yet? I'm just trying to figure out what's going on.
Did you have the producer schedule for yesterday yet? I still haven't gotten it. So what's going on?
Hey, come on, he's working on it, guys. Give him a
Armin's
break.
out here taking souls.
I'm working on it.
Yeah,
my kind of Armin. Sorry that we're getting
I
here
didn't
today.
mean to, but I'm just trying to think. Butch. I don't know what kind of emails Butch is sending. They probably have like too many spaces, and
Triple A Dante, 2 biggest ripoffs: college bookstores and Blockbuster Video late fees. Yeah, you knew that was never happening.
Well, and if we're going down this path, let me throw in tuxedo rental just to throw it in there. I'm not going to give up on
Big
that.
Wedding and Big Book, both taking shots from Armin this morning.
Oh, absolutely. Everybody's going to be catching strays from Armin Sarian this morning. This is 9:08, and you have gone at like 4 or 5 different companies.
I'm serious,
and people in this building.
I'm actually in a good mood. Yeah,
I'm serious though. In college, I would get these books, 900 pages, and I would photocopy every single one.
How long did it take you?
I was going to say you'd be in there for 8 or 9 hours.
It would take me probably 2 hours to do a book.
Sure.
I mean, because you don't need to wait for it to print out to actually scan the next page. You just need that little line to go. And it was a fast copier, so it was like.
So you guys were buzzing at Shippensburg.
Oh, I was fluent.
Now that's grinding. That's hustling.
I was moving quick. And then I think a year later, it was like 10 cents a copy. Like they caught on.
Yeah, they knew what you were doing. I would have been having so much fun sitting at one of the computers watching this big guy just flip pages each time.
Oh, people were pissed. The line behind me would get to like 30 people. People actually trying to do work. They would have like an Encyclopedia Britannica, and they'd honestly just need to copy 2 pages out of the Britannica. And I'm like, 300 more to go.
All due respect.
Sorry. Quick.
I thought maybe you did it like in the football office, because that was my question: was did it cost money for all?
Right in the library.
Right in the library.
Right in the library.
So
there you go.
We're good. We're all good.
Everything's working out. Nothing.
Dude, people on the video
stream
on YouTube and X are having a heck of a start to the morning.
Is there a piece missing?
Armin's microphone just combusts.
You guys,
right in
I
front
have
of
video proof. I wasn't touching it or doing anything. I wasn't pulling on it. It just fell on its own.
Yeah.
We got a red hot Tim Scott just sighting in here in the midst of the frustration. That's outstanding. I just hold on to it for now.
Gotta be.
People
we'll find it
all
during the
the
break.
time. Why don't you go to the studio more? I mean, examples
This
A
might
and
be
B.
it.
Billy's
Yeah.
on his 3rd computer already this morning. Armin's microphone is now a handheld.
I actually like this. I feel like an MC more. I'm like, just holding them
You
up.
feel like
on
you're
the
at an
show.
ads game.
Yeah, I feel like I'm holding. Exactly. I feel like I'm on the, handheld mic. I feel like I'm more of like a rapper. What's up, guys? You take it off when you're getting real serious, like you're a comedian. All right, let me get this done. Well, let me tell you about my flight in now. You know what I mean? And you're just working the crowd a little bit.
Give us a set.
Give us a set list.
Oh,
here.
I don't have it. I don't have a tight 5 for you here. All right. let's
Not
go.
one?
No, I've not been a comedian. I'm not one of these guys that think they can be a comedian that works in broadcasting. There's a lot of guys out there like that, that think they're a comedian. And there it is. There's the screw. Miss Liz. Okay. It was going to bother me until I.
You found it?
So
You got
anyway,
it?
my joke was going to be, John, how many trees you had to kill to print all those things out?
It's an enormous wood.
Yeah, I know. That's a lot of wood you guys were losing on those copies back in college.
Eric and Eagle, big microphone is after Armin today.
They know it's some. Listen, there was a show on ESPN called Dream Job. Do you remember that show?
I do remember that show.
Yeah, it's a
Josh Elliott, I think, was one of the first guys to win it.
Really?
Dude,
Wow.
that ended up then going to like Good Morning America. He was on SportsCenter and then went to Good Morning America.
Remember that show, John, where you could try out to be in the SportsCenter anchor? And
Eddie and Delafield. Is Armin drinking today?
I'm definitely not. I'm definitely not. But my point was, every week they would throw something new at you, like a reality show. And one of the challenges was the teleprompter would go down, or something wouldn't work in the studio, and you had to still adjust and go on the fly. So I feel like this is sort of like that
Oh, the
situation.
teleprompter would be the worst.
My point is,
would be hard.
I feel like I'm overcoming adversity here. All right, let's get a little. Just give me a break on that one. No, I don't. I'm just saying.
I'm just having outstanding work early here on the Talking Text line. NicoletLaw.com Talking Text line. I'm buzzing this morning. Sushi in the Falls. So what, did Billy's laptop catch a virus searching all his favorite mothers on Mother's Day?
Good one. That's a good one right there.
Not that I know of. That's usually on the iPad. Random shots at KB this morning from Armin, says Aaron in Milwaukee.
Did I take a shot at KB?
I don't know. Maybe there was one or two in there.
Did. Sorry,
And
KB.
Justin in an Uber at least gives us what over the air sounded like 3 minutes ago when Armin Sarian's microphone just decided to self-combust. Sounds like Armin's mic exploding just made the sound like his headbutt of the microphone as he fell out of a chair. So it was an intense moment there for you.
I guess so. Yeah. I caught it though. I mean,
You didn't catch
It
it.
was on the string. Yeah, you're right. What am I saying?
No, you didn't catch it. It
Yeah.
smacked the board. It fell off and you lost the screw for what ended up being a couple of minutes. But we have the screw
We're
back.
good to go, baby.
We are about to come back here, reset.
Oh, we're taking
Wait,
an early break
We're
here.
gonna take an early break.
I didn't
here. I
even
think
need to do
it
that.
needs to. I think it might need to happen because more importantly, with the Talking Text line, NicoletLaw.com Talking Text line having this type of early interaction, we got to get to one of our main courses of the day. We got Trey Crosby coming up here at 10 o'clock. He's going to talk some NBA playoffs with us. Always give some Survivor spoilers at the end of his 10 o'clock visit on Tuesdays with us. Jared Goff got himself a big payday. I don't know who's happier, Jared Goff or Jordan Love. We'll get into that one coming up. A former Packer decides to go from the NFL to TikTok. And can you be called a former Packer when you ran through rookie minicamp? Right? Like that is going to have to be decided potentially for the artist formerly known as Trent Jones. We good?
I think I'm good. What? Yeah, I'm all good.
Oh, that was
All set to go. It was a little loud in the bump there. Sorry about that. Yeah.
LeBron James.
You
And
ever run a board with one hand before? I mean, I'm doing pretty good, I gotta say, on this deal.
LeBron James is in up to something
How are you
season.
gonna pat yourself on the back? One hand for the board, one hand for the mic. That's gonna be tough today.
It's a great question.
Sometimes you gotta go one-handed. That's just the way it is.
Pause. Okay. If you could switch lives with one athlete for one day, all the skill set possible, one game, one day, one athlete, who is it? 414-799-1973, the NicoletLaw.com Talking Text line. We'll give you the impetus for this situation. We'll reset whatever the heck just happened in the Iron Jock Studios and come back with a banger. And you're welcome, YouTube and X video audience. You got treated in the first 12 minutes. The next 2.5 hours, even better. It's 9 to noon with Coon, Billy, and Armin on the game.
This place about to tonight. We're taking over. No one's getting out. This place about to blow. This place about to blow.
If we didn't blow it up in the first segment, we're going to try to in 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 8. Probably not 9, because then we got to hand it off to the Mike Heller Show. And we'd like to be able to rebuild the Iron Jock studio if indeed we blew it up. By the time Mike Heller gets in here, by the time Dad gets here, we want to make sure the house is clean.
I think we were.
It's like throwing a big party. You want to make sure that you get everything cleaned up before the parents get home.
You got to make sure everything's good. And guys, I don't know. I got to tell you, 5.5 minute break. I think we had everything fixed in 2. So
It was pretty impressive.
Give
Yeah.
ourselves credit. I want to give our man Luddy some props. Thank you, Andrew Ludwig, for coming in, holding this thing in for me while I screwed it in.
The problem with cleaning the house, though, is it always looks better than when you had the party in the first place.
That's true. It's shady then,
Your
right?
parents always knew. They came home.
Mm.
Oh, had people over again, did you?
Yeah. See, my mom was
All
just
the dishes are done for some reason. That's funny.
my mom was so meticulous that like 3 days after cleaning the house, she starts cleaning them. What are we doing here? It's horrendous. We got to clean this place up. So at that point, I never underestimated. I never was great. However, in high school, my parents never left. They never went out of town.
They didn't go out of town to see grandma or something
Never.
like that. Yeah, I get your point. Okay.
Never. They never went for a quick weekend to Door County to enjoy some time, right?
They were never gone.
Like, you guys should go to Nashville or something. Go for a couple of days.
You guys should take a 5-day drive. Just hang out.
Let's just go for a couple days. Just go and enjoy yourself for a couple days.
Yeah.
Never. So luckily in college, we were able to enjoy a lot of that as I celebrate my Carroll University Pioneers by looking like a traffic cone here today on 9 to Noon's video stream, which is presented by Screamin' Sicilian Pizza. All right. 414-799-1973. Threw the question out on the other side of the break. And immediately people hunted it down. I thought this might be fun after hearing this audio yesterday circulating around. Now, Armin, everyone's got a podcast.
Everyone, and I'm not even kidding you. Everyone's got a podcast, right? Everyone has one.
Now, JJ Redick's got a couple of podcasts.
Right, because we couldn't hear him enough on one podcast. We needed a second one.
This is not on his podcast. He's on another podcast.
Like a guest?
He's a guest on a podcast. This is actually Shaq's podcast with Adam Lefkoe, who might be the new Ernie Johnson next year.
Wow, that's a good point. Yeah.
Just priming the pump for potentially a move over to NBC. They work well together. I'm actually a big Adam Lefkoe fan, so I think it's a good time. However, I don't frequent the Big Man podcast or the Big Shaq podcast. However, this clip circulated around yesterday, and it's at the back end of them talking about LeBron and JJ doing the podcast. And there's way more on LeBron that we're going to talk about coming up in a little while. But Lefkoe asks the two guys one of, I think, the greatest questions for all athletes to sit around in a college house at about 3 a.m. Either that or maybe about 20 after 4 on a Sunday afternoon. You could change bodies. You could switch skill sets. You could be one athlete for one day. Who would it be? This is centered around Shaq and JJ, but understandably so. JJ Redick's thought on Shaq, I think, is many, many people's answer to this age-old question.
I looked back. So you both start your career with the Magic. JJ has one career dunk. Shaq, you have one career 3. If you guys were able to swap bodies and skill sets for one game, how would you have approached that game? Shaq, you can lead off.
Before the game, I would announce myself as the Black Steph Curry. And I would tell the world, oh, I'm hitting 10 threes tonight. And, of course, all you would be like, oh, no, you won't. And, bro, I wish I was a shooter like you and Steph and those guys. I do. I really do. Like I always wanted to play inside, but now when I see these big guys step out, I get kind of jealous. I'm like, I wish I can do that. If I had your jump shot,
It would have been kind of unfair.
If I had Shaq's body and skill set, oh man,
you'd be cold.
it doesn't come out often, Adam. Somewhere deep inside my soul is a little bit of anger that just lives there.
Ain't that deep.
And I don't really pay attention to it, but it's there. And if I had the opportunity to let that anger out on the court with just punishing people, dunking on people, I try to block every shot. Oh, it'd be so great.
Now, there would be some personal demons
Sure.
exercised that day. And I do think that there are people that generally walk around, John, Armin, day in and day out, maybe around 5'8", 5'9", that would think, I'd be getting back at the freaking world for that 48 minutes. You're not taking me off the floor if you're putting me 7'1", 350 pounds, and I'm getting back from my middle school days. John, and you live this, and I can only imagine maybe the Austin Rivers situation is throwing some thought into this, and so maybe you don't want to go NBA player, but you get one athlete for one day. Who are you going with?
Yeah, I'm not going to go basketball. This is one day. This is taking advantage of this to its fullest. So it's got to be golf or football, my two loves in this world. And it's tough because golf would be fun because you could milk that thing for 36 holes. I mean,
Sure.
A lot of money off your buddies.
Yeah, and just really,
Oh, yeah,
what
that's
happened
true.
to you? You're driving the ball 310, 320 yards, and now you're making putts for once? Like, what actually happened to you? I mean, that would be fun, but man, it would have to be exactly the opposite of what I was as a player. I think I'd have to go Barry Sanders and not let a person touch me and just wiggle and shake and move and make everybody miss 17 times as I run down a football. It would have to be Barry Sanders.
Well, I noticed that. So usually it's the opposite of what your current skill set.
Because it would be so much fun.
Mhm.
Right.
Because I've watched so many fast guys in my career run around this football field and make people miss and make people look slow and make people dive and catch a face full of dirt. I would love to be fast and have wiggles and make people miss all day. That would be fun.
And every time you were trying the one step juke, you felt like you were Barry. You felt like you were deking somebody completely up out of their shoes.
Oh, yeah. I was making people miss all the time, except I never made a miss. And you know what, Armin? The best part of this is I wouldn't have to run up the middle. I could go to the outside. Why don't you run to the outside? Well, now I did. And now you see why.
Well, John, I know deep
Run
down.
away from these guys instead of into them for one time.
I know deep down that you deep down you believe that running back dream is in you, right? I mean, you always looked at yourself as a running back first,
I
then
was
a
a running
fullback,
I
and
was
a
a running back.
fullback only in necessity and conversion only. But however, I always do remark about the that Lions game in 2010 when you had to be the running back and you were the running back for the half a game when everybody else was hurt except for you and Corey. So and you
one
ran the
half.
so you know what I'm saying? You were tailback at Shippensburg, RB for Ship. So I think that there's something
Good
to that.
callback.
No
Good
doubt.
callback.
Absolutely. There's no. Now I always wondered, John, did you think of yourself? What would it be like if I played defense? I know you played some linebacker, right, in high school
Oh,
and stuff
yeah.
like that.
Mhm.
So is that just the obvious move there? Or did you ever want to be a D lineman or like a safety and lay hits? Did you ever sit there and say, I wish I could play defense too?
I mean, if I was going to play defense, naturally I would play linebacker. So that wouldn't be the skill set that I would
sure.
pick.
Yeah.
Right?
Mhm.
I'd move to the outside and play, free safety.
I'd want to play corner. Yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Corner or free safety and just run around and, lock people down. But that might not be enough action for me. I might have to be like Lawrence Taylor and just make people look terrible.
Just exactly. Go everywhere.
Just embarrass people and hit quarterbacks and get penalties on myself for landing on them. I would have to
Mhm.
be an outside linebacker. Yeah,
I
that would be
wonder,
it.
is it always like the bizarre world? Like, do kickers want to be punters and punters want to be kickers? And is it always the
Pretty sure
opposite?
they're tired of
Yeah.
using their legs. They'd like to use their arms.
Well,
Kickers and punters probably want to be quarterbacks.
Probably want to be quarterbacks. Now,
Quarterbacks definitely don't want to be kickers. I can
Mm-mm.
promise you that.
Nobody wants to be a kickers. That's the problem. Or maybe some do.
I don't know. I thought about it quite some time. Now, I was the kicker on my 5th grade team, but then 6th grade, I couldn't get the ball elevated at all. So then they found somebody else and brought in a soccer player.
Or
So that was a tough moment for me.
Or maybe it's like kickers always want to play soccer, or soccer players want to be kicking in football.
Yeah,
There's always that
I don't think
aspect to
soccer
it.
players want to kick.
Is it always the opposite of
They
it?
realize there's more money in kicking footballs potentially.
Do salmon always wish they were tuna, and tuna always wish they were salmon? Swimming with the current.
Yeah,
and
something
against
like
it,
that. Now, I've thought about this, and one of my guys would have to be one of John's former teammates. I've always thought that when I was playing flag football or when I was playing backyard football, I envisioned myself as Ben Roethlisberger.
There you go.
Right? I always wanted to have a nice sick beard. Right?
Sure.
Still want that. Not going to happen. Right? But his ability to also sling it while being the deceptively elusive cat. I don't necessarily know that I got to be Josh Allen throwing my shoulder into everybody. That would be fun. No doubt about it. But I want to have the sneaky, quick athleticism to then when I slide down 24 yards down the field, people are like, and where did that come from Ben Roethlisberger? Because I would envision myself doing that. Now, you brought up defense. I don't know that even though I envied Darrelle Revis for so many years, just being able to completely neutralize somebody. If I'm going defensive guy, I'm going Deion Sanders because I want to be able to bait people into throwing me the football while talking as much stuff as possible. Because no one really cares when the fat guy's talking smack from the line, trying to talk to the safeties and corners. That's not nearly as fun. The best trash talk, John, I always thought was on the perimeter of the field. And that was the spot on the perimeter that I thought I could hang. I knew that I'd be able to throw the verbal jabs. I'm just not going to be able to hold up with any of the athleticism. So one day to have Deion Sanders' speed and ability, I know that I'm bringing the trash talk work, and I'm going to be able to hold up Prime's end on that bar.
Yeah, that would be pretty cool. That would be pretty cool. I mean, just think of
returning
the ability.
kicks,
Yeah.
intercepting, playing offense every now and then. That would be fun.
Every time that they wanted, when you really needed a big play.
Charles Woodson at Michigan would have been cool. Offense, defense, returning kicks, winning a Heisman.
Yeah.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
Now Tim in Iowa goes completely off the board. Usain Bolt, Olympics.
He took mine. He took mine.
Really?
I said I never.
You were gonna pick Usain Bolt?
He was up there because I said I never know what it's like to be fast. And I wasn't fast. And I said I would have been like to feel like you're the fastest man in the world. That's one thing I don't think anyone else can say except one person. And to say I'm the fastest man, I was gonna say Michael Johnson or Carl Lewis or Usain Bolt. What that would feel like to be able to run faster than everybody in the Olympics.
I love that.
That would be the most incredible feeling. That's something I could never imagine.
But you have one day to do this, and you're going to take advantage of it for 10 seconds.
You know what? That's true, John.
That's a good
But
point.
then people would always know you're the fat. I mean, there's other races, but to know that you fulfill that, you don't have to keep like if you're a great home run hitter, right? The other guy I thought about was Ken Griffey Jr., right? The coolest dude around, always smiling. And to be able to hit a ball that effortlessly and look that cool doing it, to be that great of a ball player, have my own video game that everyone liked.
See,
But
I'm
that's fair.
surprised by your answer, Armin. I thought for sure it would have been like Wilfredo Leon, the world's best volleyball player.
No.
Or
I had
Rafael Nadal.
I had
tennis
Federer on my
player.
list. I had
Federer style. Okay.
So you have a list. You
I
have a
did.
list.
I kept thinking. Of
Now we're
different guys.
talking.
I did.
So when did you do this? When did you write this list?
No, this
while
mor-
I was going, while
no,
I was talking?
This morning we were starting thinking about it.
Oh, okay. Tell me your list.
That's it.
Give me your-
Griffey,
Is it a
Usain,
short
and
list or a long
Griffey, Usain, and Federer on my list. The thing about Federer is like if I wanted to stay in something I already did, but be the best at it. Like I did,
Sure.
I used to play tennis and I love playing tennis, but I wasn't great at it. I'm still not. Obviously, I'm just an average player at best. But to be Roger Federer, now here's a guy to look up to. The greatest in his sport, 20 Grand Slam titles, right? Won them all. Had a sick Nike deal, was always, respected by his peers, respected in the game, considered one of the GOATs, always carried himself with class, one of the great sportsmen.
Great head of hair.
He's great hair to this day.
Mhm.
Looks great in a
Yeah,
suit.
great hair.
Best friends with one of his greatest competitors, Rafa Nadal. Like I think that whole thing would be awesome to be able to be Roger Federer. Who else better to look up to as a guy to be? That'd be so awesome.
Now, I always love baseball, and you hit Ken Griffey Jr. Trevor Hoffman to me would be a pretty fun one.
Ooh, that's good.
Like
Yeah.
in the prime of Trevor Hoffman's career, or Mariano Rivera, both of them, you knew they were throwing two pitches, and the entire arena, the entire stadium was waiting for that sound to hit. And Trevor Hoffman, when that Hell's Bells music would hit,
Yeah.
and you know that he's walking in and he's probably K'ing two guys out, getting a weak ground ball on a 4-3 put out to finish the game, 600 plus saves. That would be the slow trot into the pitcher's mound. Just that moment might be my favorite part of being Trevor Hoffman for one day.
Well, if you're going to do that, you might as well throw Mike Tyson walking into the ring.
Oh, that's a
back in the day.
too.
for heavyweight
It's a good one
championship
too.
belt.
Knowing you're the baddest dude around.
I mean, his walk-in songs were amazing. Do you remember gathering around a television back then, Armin? It was like Channel 99.
I was young.
pay-per-view.
I remember seeing it. I don't
Maybe
remember
you had
the
a cheater
song.
box. Maybe you were looking at it through fuzzy lines, but you were sitting there and you were getting ready, and then that music came on. Bam. and Mike Tyson starts walking in, and he looked like he would eat somebody.
Yeah,
He
they have
actually
that.
did eat
I
somebody.
was gonna say, and
Yeah,
then
she
did.
did.
eat
eat a
the ear.
person.
No, but like having that level of like dominance and fear in other people. Can you imagine like Mike Tyson walking around knowing he's the baddest?
Well, that's kind of what you're going for on the Fastest Man Alive. You want to strike some fear in some people.
it would just be so cool to feel that. I don't know what it feels like. There's a couple of things like I'll never hit a home run. I'll never dunk a ball, but to be the fastest man in the world on the Olympic, like to beat the other fastest dudes in the world and
Well,
dominate that.
okay. What about, and I see a lot of them on the talking text line here. What about Bo Jackson? You could be
That's a
one of
good
the
one.
fastest men on the field,
Mhm.
and you could hit a home run.
Yeah, that would be an amazing. I mean, yeah, being Bo Jackson, knowing you could play both sports, knowing you're, and then you guys saw the 30 for 30 on Bo, the legendary feats that occurred when he was younger, like the things he would be able to do athletically or
Oh yeah.
hit balls that no one's ever found and stuff like that.
And to have Charles Barkley say that you might be the only athlete that's better than him at Auburn.
yeah, that's true. That's
To,
true.
to be able to
Yeah.
have Charles say something good about you, that might also be one. I like this one from Matt in Milwaukee, and I've seen it a couple of times. Shohei Ohtani. Being able to be like Ken Griffey Jr. and Pedro Martinez
Yeah.
in one guy for one day.
That's a good point. Yeah,
Especially if you have a doubleheader.
Because you might as well maximize it, right? Like, I mean, I'm thinking about
Take
this.
advantage.
We
That's
want-
why I want to go golf, because you could
That's
play
tough.
from sun up to sundown and be dominant that entire time.
Now, a couple of different golfers. I'll be honest with you. We've seen like 2 or 3 come in. Jack Nicklaus. I understand why many people would say that. Tiger or Scotty. I didn't realize Scotty was going to find himself into this conversation here, John. But if those 3, is there a favorite for you as the golf aficionado that you'd swap with?
Tiger in his prime because of all the hoopla that went with it, right? The crowds that followed Tiger. Now, Scotty
Mhm.
right now, don't sleep on what Scotty Scheffler is
He's a
doing.
plus
Scotty-
300 favorite to
Yeah.
win to win the PGA Championship.
he has been so phenomenal this year, along with, and her name's slipping my mind right now on the female side. Armin, come on, help me out with it. Help me out with it.
Yep.
She's won her like last 5 or 6 events.
Yeah, I just saw it on sport. I don't
What
remember
the
the name.
heck? Why? Okay, well, this is not great.
Sorry.
But, Scotty, don't sleep on what Scotty has been so dominant this year. His caddy has made more money than Rory McIlroy.
Nelly Corda.
Nelly Corda.
Yeah.
His caddy
Are
has
you
made
serious?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's
You
how
know
dominant
that?
Scotty Scheffler has been. Scotty Scheffler is so dominant that one of the faces of the PGA Tour has made less money than
Oh,
his
man.
caddy. That's how dominant he is.
And Rory's won. Right? Like, didn't he just
Let's-
win one? He
so
was-
don't- well, maybe now not. But
well,
you know,
no, but I mean, like
going
that Zurich one, like to be in the midst there, that's fantastic. Wow. And I mean, there's also the amount of lost wages that Rory could have if he would have just went over to live.
Do
All right.
not sleep on what Scotty's doing. But Tiger in his prime on a Sunday, that might be it. That
Rocking the
might be
real Sunday
And-
red
and
on a Sunday.
Let me pick my day, Sunday at the Masters, and I'm Tiger. That might be the one that's the most fun.
Chris in Greendale with one that nobody else has touched. Gilbert Brown.
Oh, it's great being Gilbert. Trust me, it's great being Gilbert.
Get to be
Yeah.
the grave digger for one game.
Have your own sandwich.
Look fantastic in that with that black visor on.
Right.
Being 350 pounds, like the
Right.
only big guy with the visor on at that time.
You just know you're moving people. You got a really cool celebration. You got a really cool visor. But man, I want to be fast for a day.
Yes,
I want to
that's
have
what
a
I'm
little
saying.
speed.
Hey, I'll be on one other one, and no one would be a part of it. Leroy Butler for a day would be pretty
There
fun.
you go. You got there you
Dominate the field, then go to pick and save, and then have a bunch of game day brats for you.
go. You got everything in Pick and Save. You get the vodka. You get the brats. You have everything.
And just be like low key one of the nicest human beings of all time. That would be a tough one for me to pass up. 414-799-1973. NicoletLaw.com talking text line is open for you. You switch with one athlete for one day. Who are you picking? And a couple in the fight game that we have not gotten to. Some great suggestions. Armin wants to be an Olympian.
Man, it'd be so cool just to blow by everybody and say, I'm the fastest man in the world.
I want to be Deion Sanders to return some kicks, lock up some stuff on the corner, and to talk as much stuff as possible. John just wants to juke every human being out, and God forbid, run outside once in a while. Let me call a sweet
Why don't
coach.
you ever run to the outside? Well, now I can.
Why do you always run into the guys? I'm going to run away from them for one day. 414-799-1973. NicoletLaw.com talking text line. It's 9 to noon on the game.
Yeah.
Oh, when it all,
Yeah.
it all falls down.
This the real one, baby.
I'm telling you,
Chi-Town stand up.
Oh, when it
Southside, we gon' set this party off right.
I'm telling you,
Westside, we gon' set this party off right.
It's 9 to noon on the game, statewide game network of stations. If you're on WNFL in Green Bay, Flamethrower hanging out with us up in Rhinelander, Twin Ports, Duluth, Superior. What's good, Wisconsin? We're asking all of you right now. You could switch with one athlete for one day. Who is it going to be? 414-799-1973, NicoletLaw.com, talking text line. Just banging this morning with text results in here. And a lot more Paul Skeens than I would have anticipated.
Oh, a lot of people want to throw 100 miles an hour, huh?
Something like that. Something like that. Something like that. They're very interested in his stash, very interested in his home life. Now that comes into this, and Armin asked the question, John, right away when we brought it up today. Is it for one game? Which was what Lefko, Shaq, and JJ Redick, kind of the impetus for this was. It was one game. How are you attacking the game? I'm like, okay, well, that's all well and good. Let's open this thing up. You get one full day. That's where a lot of Wilt Chamberlain calls are coming in.
Yeah.
For people of a certain generation.
And Paul Skeens, right?
And Paul Skeens.
Yeah, this is just for the game, fellas. This
Yeah.
is just for the game.
Because if
they
I
want to drive their car
once-
and live in
once-
their house, and
once the game is done, you go back to your normal self.
right. So like that's the part of it for me. If I was gonna do that, I'm gonna be limousine riding, jet flying.
oh, you're doing it all. Yeah, I get that. Right.
I'm gonna be the swaggiest son of a gun out there, and I'm going Ric Flair, right? Like, I mean, if I'm going full 24 hours, woo, I'm going all over the place. It is gonna be a fantastic day. But just the arena, just there, because then all of a sudden I revert back to being 6'3", fat, and not nearly as good on the microphone with that big old blonde hair like Ric Flair does when he walks into the arena. 414-799-1973. Michael Johnson in the 1996 Olympics.
That's it. That's similar to the Usain Bolt one, but yeah, that'd be awesome. And those gold shoes. Remember him running the 200 in those gold shoes? That was amazing. That was one of the great races. Oh, it was so exciting to watch him run. I know you remember, John. So don't
No,
even.
it was outstanding. And it
Give
was
me
the
that
2 and the 400, correct?
Yeah, I think he had 2 races. Those gold Nikes. Everyone had those gold shoes. Of course, you didn't get them because they were like track shoes. But yeah, that was awesome. That was awesome.
What about this? Oh, if it's just the game, didn't anticipate his name getting thrown in here. I'm going Anthony Edwards. Young gun arriving onto the scene. I didn't know he was in that conversation quite yet.
Great player, no doubt about it. I mean, it'd be fun to play like him for a day.
Now, Andy in the 262 does ask for the Deion Sanders part, playing an NFL game at noon on Sunday in October, then flying to go to the NLCS game that night. Are we allowing that because it is one day?
He's the athlete. Yeah, you get all the games in the day.
You pick your day. You can't just say
Okay, so you
can't
get
just
to
say,
pick the day.
Like I can't be Usain Bolt in the offseason just hanging out like that. I want to be Usain Bolt in the Olympics running that race. Obviously, that's
Yeah, Armin gets to be Usain
Come
Bolt,
on.
and he gets to be him on his off day for. He doesn't even get to run. He's got to rest.
Armin, I
It's a
got
rest
good news.
day, Armin.
Good news and bad news. What's the good news? You get to be Usain Bolt for a day. What's the bad news? His day is when he's 83. Like,
You get to be Usain Bolt for a day, and today is carb loading day.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
You just got to eat pasta all day.
That would be
Right.
so fun.
That would be
I'd be
all right.
ready for that.
But
I'd
see,
be ready for that.
there's no
Yeah,
payoff.
it doesn't burn off like
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, there's no payoff. there.
414. Greg Maddox just painting quarters, making batters look absolutely silly. That's Yancey in Wynn Lake. There we go. Okay, Greg Maddox entering the chat. Haven't been nearly as many pitchers. I did say if I was going baseball, I'm going Trevor Hoffman because I want to hear that hell's bells as I trot on in, standing 6'6". Big old cat too, right? Like I want to be somewhat intimidating while I'm out there. And the best part is for that one, John, I got to work for like 20 minutes. Then I get to just enjoy maybe the best part about being a bullpen pitcher and just hanging out in the bullpen eating
Yeah,
seeds.
so I'm kind of torn by this. You're going to be a pitcher, okay? Do you want to be Randy Johnson and scare the living daylights out of people?
Mhm.
Do you want to be Mariano Rivera and just absolutely make people look silly? Do you want to be Shohei so you can throw that fire and
And hit.
step up to the plate and hit?
It's a
Yeah.
tough one to miss. Joe in Hartford, Justin Verlander, strike out 10 batters, then go home. Listen, again,
I get
you
the-
leave the
can't have-
stadium, you're done.
Right. I get the can't have
This-
this.
Sorry, Kate Upton's not interested in the Monstar once the powers go back to Muggsy Bogues,
There
right? Like,
seems to be a
that's not
trend.
nearly as fun.
Yeah, there seems to be a trend in that. It's like the Freaky
We
Friday.
got some
thing.
horny guys on here.
Oh, they're out there. I mean, let's be honest. Our whole text line's full.
I mean, I'm amazed by the number of people that want to be called.
Are you though?
Crazy. It's crazy.
And now you tell me she won't make money? Come on. Yeah, she'll make plenty of money off you guys.
I don't know if these guys are subscribing.
Hey.
Tony in Oak Creek, I'd be Ken in the Falls. Knows everything, has done everything. How cool is that?
That's man. If you're Ken in the Falls, imagine the sports you're playing in that day.
Yeah, he's
You
built for
got
speed.
every beer league sport imaginable.
I like this one from Greg and Tosa. Doc Ellis, no hitter on
Oh
acid.
my, yeah, that was an epic day. I mean, for him, I would say for him. You
Not
know?
for all of mankind.
Well, I mean, you could be David Wells and be hungover pitching a perfect game.
Oh, that would be another good one.
What's better or what's worse? I would say, I guess.
I think you'd get over your hangover pretty quickly. You start throwing a no-no.
Yeah, and you'd have great stories to tell. from the
Right,
night
you're
before.
dialed in a little bit quicker.
All
than
of a
that.
sudden, you're like, man, look at where I'm at right
But
now.
if you woke up,
I can beat the world.
if it was that whole thing with like Freaky Friday,
I can't complete a sentence with a hangover. He goes out there and throws a perfect game.
but if you woke up just to be him on the perfect game day, you'd have this terrible headache and you didn't know why. Like, this thing stinks. I got to be one guy for one day and I start off like this.
This is what happened. Are
Imagine
you
waking
serious?
up that day.
Right.
You wake up that day with beat David Welch. You're like,
Can you imagine?
God, this is how he feels. This is terrible.
Oh, just imagine if you were John Starks and you picked that one day where he went 0 for 17.
That would be a bad day.
That would be the
terrible.
worst one.
Or you could be the day you dunked over Jordan and the rest of the series you lost but didn't know it. I mean,
That's
the
the
Knicks
thing
were on
about-
top of the world at 2-0.
That's the thing about Ant-Man. When that Nooner brought up Ant-Man, not only can you throw a nasty dunk down, but you can make somebody miss and dot him with a jumper. I mean, he's got
Mhm.
that type of.
Well, he's also said he could do anything.
Yeah.
Right. Like, hey, put me on baseball field. You know what I was? 3-4 hitter. You know what that means? Straight cleanup. Cleanup on aisle 3. You know
Yeah.
I'm hitting that thing out. And if you haven't seen John, have you seen Anthony Edwards Pee Wee football highlights?
Well, that's it.
You watch that and then try watching his basketball game and not thinking about that in the midst of the entire run. Derek in Whitewater. I beat Brandon Bostic in 2014 and let Jordy do his job. Listen, okay, Derek,
Hey, listen, thank you for that.
big
Hey,
fan of that. Big fan of that. Yep.
What a selfless person. I'm going to take Brandon Bostic. Yeah.
Oh, he's
And I'm
trying
gonna
to
block.
He's trying to reverse history, though.
Yes.
Could Brandon go back and be Brandon again and change that
And catch the ball.
change history or catch it? One or the other.
I think he's
We-
going to try to catch it again.
I think we all would have been happy with that. Even if it, we know you didn't do what you were supposed to, but you still caught it and got down. And now we can run the clock.
Yeah, I
out.
would have been okay if he would have caught it.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I think
it's
we all would've
weird.
been okay if
It's
he would've
weird
caught
to
it.
think about would Brandon Bostic's career had been different, not if he made a different decision, but if he caught the ball.
Oh, if he caught it,
If he caught it, people are saying, hero, caught the ball.
they
Yeah,
would
man,
have. They would have actually bought 86 jerseys.
No one says you're a hero for covering up an onside kick, though. That's an ordinary thing to do.
I swear to you, I don't know how that would have been received in the locker room
Sure.
had he caught
Sure.
the ball. Because I'm gonna tell you right now,
because everyone knew.
I'm still gonna go to him and say, that was risky. That at least you caught it. But I'm sure there's going to be a lot of attaboys being thrown around for him for
Sure.
even though it was a bad decision. Man, that's a fascinating question. How would his career had been different? Not if he made a different decision, but if he
Just would have caught it. Damn. Probably wouldn't have that podcast that he's working on right now. Right? I mean, I probably wouldn't have that.
No,
podcast.
that was inevitable. Everybody's got a podcast. He would have. Doesn't matter what he would have done. Everybody's got one.
Our guy Trey Crosby, not a podcast, on your T's and Q's radio show Saturday mornings. You hear it each and every week. Bucks in 60, talking Bucks one night a week at 6:00. Also, the Cream City crossover postgame show that was all the rage while the Bucks were still in. We'll talk some NBA playoffs. We get that Survivor spoiler. And Trey, Division I athlete, I'm excited to hear what his answer to this is. One athlete, one game. You get to trade places. Who are you picking? 414-799-1973. Trey Crosby joins this conversation next. It's 9 to noon on the game.
If the world was perfect, oh my behind me. Ain't you La la la, wait till I get my money right. I had a dream I could buy my way to heaven. When I awoke, I spent that on a necklace. I told God I'll be back in a second. Man, it's so hard not to act reckless. To whom much is given, much is tested. Get arrested, guess until he get the message.
It's 9 to noon on the game. Billy Schmidt, Armin Sarian, John Kuhn with all of you. 414-799-1973 is the NicoletLaw.com talking text line, and people are answering the question of the day here today. You get one athlete. You get one game. You can pick it. You can pick the day. Who are you picking to switch skill sets with? You get one time, one chance, one opportunity. Better not fumble the bag. Our guy Trey Crosby never does when he joins us on the NicoletLaw.com talking text line Tuesdays at 10. We'll get to our Survivor spoilers coming up in a moment, some NBA playoffs. But Trey, I can only imagine you guys talked about this. You and some other Bison football players, one day in time, there has been a thought. If you could switch bodies, switch skill sets with one athlete for one day, who's Trey Crosby picking?
Well, I think everybody knows who I'm picking. We talk about in their prime. I'm taking prime Cam Newton. I mean, come on.
To be him?
That's easy. No, I don't even be him. I'm just taking the skill set. What is it, 6'6", 245? I'm going all over the place, scoring on whoever, running through guys. I'm taking prime Cam Newton any day, all day, twice, every day of the week, twice on Sundays.
I like that one.
Are you dressing the same as Cam Newton to and from the game?
No, I don't need to do all that. There's some outfits that I like from Cam, and there's some that get a little out. There's kind of like Kanye. Like Kanye has some outfits that, and some things that I say okay, genius. And then sometimes like okay, not so much with that one. That take was a little out there. So I think it all goes to the genius of people. They get a little crazy at times. And like I said, Cam can get a little out there too.
So
Yeah, I agree.
Cam's got some genius. Cam's got some style genius. What's
must be
the
it.
fits?
Yeah,
what's your favorite Cam fit?
Favorite Cam fit? I don't know. I have a favorite fit. I do like I kind of like the hats that he's doing now.
I was going to say anything
feather
with
in
the
the cap?
hat going through the hair going through the hat is a winner for me. I'm hitting that.
It's innovative, right? You got
Mhm.
your hair going up. You might as well have it going through that. I mean, why constrict your hair again? That's what I mean. It's all genius. It's genius.
Listen,
If I'm
I
having a
can get
good
you-
hair day, John, I want people to see it, so I
and
might as well.
And I can get you a turkey feather to put right there on that side of that cap. I can make it happen. Baseball cap with a turkey feather on it. I can make that happen.
I like it. I think that makes a lot of sense. As long as who's the people wearing these big hats? I know that it was like a thing. I can't remember who started wearing them.
Yeah.
Josh.
That is totally stupid.
No, you didn't get one. I looked into buying one. It was like $100. It's like the big hats.
They
Yeah.
were all
Jair.
over Vegas for the Super Bowl. Like
Right.
even I was there a couple of weeks beforehand, and I mean they were ripe for the picking. How many people were trying to buy big hats?
I remember Jair had one. One of the first ones was Jair, I believe. They had the
Yeah,
huge hat.
Yeah.
And Josh Allen sitting there on Thursday Night Football. That's a good one. See, I thought Ben Roethlisberger would be the one for me because I like the deceptive athleticism and still being able to scramble around. But more importantly, that's just who I thought I was when I was playing by myself in the backyard. I mean, just slinging the rock around, throwing touchdown passes to anybody and everybody. There have been a couple of fun ones here, Trey. We got Bo Jackson a number of different times throughout. And also The Rock and Ric Flair. Not too many people are trying to go Karl Malone and Wilt Chamberlain and some weird names here because they think that they're going to enjoy the rest of the festivities. We're talking only strictly in game. And many people are still continuing to weigh in. But
What rest of the festivities they want with Karl Malone?
Yeah, that's weird. I don't think you want to be Karl Malone.
shows that we got some weird people in this audience.
Yeah.
Shows that we got some weird people in this audience.
Paul Skeens, yeah.
Paul Skeens was another one. But we just got our first submission here, an hour in, Trey, for Thanasis. Now, they said Game 6, Thanasis, best seat on the house. Problem is, Thanasis was in his house at Game 6 for that. So you got to pick any other game to beat Thanasis. And some people are just going for the courtside seat.
But here's the thing about Thanasis. Like, if you're just talking strictly skill set, like Thanasis can jump through the gym. Like he athletically, like Thanasis is has just as much athleticism you could argue as Giannis. Again, if we're talking about skill, that's where it doesn't necessarily translate. But Thanasis has a lot of athleticism. So I mean, that would be fun to to be able to jump like he does. I mean, that's not, that's not for nothing.
Yeah, I guess. And he has a lot of energy. Like to be able to have that much bounce and energy in life would be a
He's
lot of
got
fun.
your energy. He's literally got
He
your
surpasses
energy.
me. He surpasses me.
No, I don't know.
I don't think
your
so.
Energy meter, Armin Sarian or Thanasis,
And
who runs that. This is like Street Fighter. You got those two little energy bars at the top of the screen. Who lasts longer, Armin running around the board or Thanasis running around the court? I think I'll take Armin. You could run the board for 6
I'm believing
hours.
it.
Thanasis gets like 6 seconds in the game.
Well, it's NBA Jam. He's always on turbo too. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
He's
if that
on turbo.
meter is flashing, you
Yeah.
know it's always on.
But listen, he's a well-paid hype guy, and he's got a lot of power. He's got a lot of understated power. He never actually has to perform. Like that might not be that bad.
Yeah, it's not a terrible gig if you can get it. All right, Trey, let's flip it into the NBA playoffs here. Were you surprised with how many people were potentially ready to dance on the Denver grave after 2 games? Because they are quickly back from the dead here with really just some Jamal Murray entering the series chat helps, but Jokic just offensively seems like he's completely figured out whatever Minnesota wants to do to him.
Yeah, it's funny because I put out a tweet before, I think it was game 1, where they were getting, I think Minnesota came out pretty hard on them. And, I think they were up big. And I think I tweeted something like, this is how I know that Denver it's on a totally different level, because it doesn't matter what the score is. I believe in them, not even necessarily to win, but I just know, like, there are Bucks games you can watch sometimes, and you can go, they get down 15-20 early, and you might go, I don't know if they're going to get back in this one. You never feel that way about Denver. Of course, I had a lot of people, some people who came in and you're hating on the Bucks and Denver. Why are you going all in for Denver? All this kind of stuff. And of course, Denver goes on to lose their first 2 games at home. So those people didn't come back. See what I told you? Why do you think all this about Denver? And what you've seen the last 2 games was precisely my point. If these were the Milwaukee Bucks and they lost not just the first 2 games, if they lost the first 2 home games, wouldn't you believe the series was over? Wouldn't you dance all? I'm not just talking about people who aren't fans of the Bucks as general media. Wouldn't Bucks own fans dance on the grave of the Milwaukee Bucks if you saw what happened, if what happened to Denver happened to Milwaukee? There's no way you think you come back from 0-2 at home. And what does Denver do? They show they're a professional basketball team. And it wasn't like Anthony Edwards just stunk up the place. Like, no, Anthony Edwards put up 40 the other night, right? Like last night, whenever it was.
He did, yes. 44.
And Denver goes, and what Denver does is go right back out as a professional basketball team, and not just wins the next 2, they win the next 2 on the road. Like that is, I don't know what the stats are, how many times that has happened before, but that is some insane level of just professionalism, and that is Nikola Jokic, that is Jamal Murray, that is Mike Malone. That is a professional basketball organization. A lot of people talk about Heat culture. They need to be talking about Nugget culture, because that takes a different level of professionalism to go out and handle business after going down 0-2, losing your first 2 home games.
Well, history will, write that page. If the Nuggets end up winning the series, if the Nuggets don't end up winning the series, sounds like you definitely think they are winning the series. But if the Nuggets don't end up winning the series, you might look at the Nuggets and say, well, that was the Bucks in 22. I had a lot of faith in the Bucks in 2022 coming off their championship to continue to be that quality championship run team. Did you have these feelings even back then, Trey?
Well, yeah, but the Bucks in 22, that was the year Chris Middleton was not there for the Boston series, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. So I agree with you. I think the Bucks maybe they do go back to back. It's tough that we weren't able to see that with what happened with Chris Middleton. Again, the Bucks fought valiantly, but again, injuries are one thing. The Nuggets' best players are a little bit younger, and they're a younger basketball team. They have some fresher legs, so they have not experienced that. But this is my point. It's not even about whether Denver wins the series or loses the series. It's the fact that they are never, ever out of it. They are always, it doesn't matter where you have them. Like, if you were to tell me there's a team that this year in the playoffs, from the start, there's going to be a team that's down 3-0, and they're going to come back and be the first team ever to be down 3-0 and win the series, I'd say, it was probably the Denver Nuggets. Like, that's just how professional they are. That's all I'm saying. Not about whether you win or lose the series. just it doesn't matter. They can be down 40, and I don't know. You better keep your foot on the gas because Denver can come back on you at any moment. They don't ever quit, and that again, it's just a great basketball team. It's a great basketball organization.
Well, and it also speaks to how continuity can continue to maybe reign supreme. I think Jamal and Jokic in the bubble came back twice from 3-1 down with Mike Malone as the coach, and then they end up getting beat by the Lakers in the conference finals. But like you just saw them not quit and not blink, and there's a decisiveness and a maestro style that Jokic plays with, Trey, that like in the first 2 games I had never seen somebody speed him up the way they did, and now after the break felt like, to be honest with you, it felt like Minnesota felt themselves a little bit during the 3 days off before they went back for game 3 on Friday night. But it also felt like Jokic just was able to sit down and say, okay, so I get how I beat Karl Anthony when he's sitting just on me. I already know that I can bully Rudy Gobert if he's on me individually. Like he just, and some of the passes that he continues to make, I got to see it in person this year for the first time, and it was staggering. But the one behind like 3 guys where Jamal Crawford goes, hey, Reggie, did you even see that pass? Like there's something to him where I don't see anybody else in that kind of offensive control right now in the league.
Well, and isn't that the thing about Joker? Like when you look at him and how he plays, and I think it's some of the things that people don't necessarily like about him. Like he doesn't, I hate to use this word and term, but he doesn't show the passion like some other players do. And he shows up, he wins, and like what was it? He goes back to Serbia and sits on the horses. He doesn't, you don't feel that emotion that, oh man, I just won a championship. This is the greatest thing in my life. Like Joker seems like a guy who, I'm just good at basketball. And again, it kind of embodies the team, kind of plays like him, where we're down 30, like nothing deters him because again, he's not going to get too high, he's not going to get too low, good or bad. It's indifferent. I'm just playing basketball. What does Marcus Johnson always say on the broadcast? Chop wood, carry water. Doesn't matter where you are. I'm going to find a way and just keep going one step at a time. And so Joker definitely does that. It's fun watching it. Now again, I think you're right. Like, and that's the thing that's most, I guess, kind of frustrating as a Bucks fan because, and you guys know me, I like to throw out agendas, and I'm definitely agenda driven at times, especially towards Giannis.
I respect that,
just a tiny bit.
Except that some of yours I don't like.
There's this thing, right, where, we thought, okay, Giannis is going to be, where is he in history? He's won a championship. He's won a couple MVPs. And you're trying to place him, okay, well, he's above Kevin Garnett. But, all right, we got to get a couple more to get to the Tim Duncan level and best big man of all time. And the guy who is doing that is Joker. Like, Joker's having, right now he has 3 MVPs. If he goes and wins another championship, like that's, like Joker is now getting towards that path. That we wanted to, and again, Giannis isn't out of it, but when Giannis won a title in 2021, right? Like, I think that's when everybody thought, okay, here's the ascension after the title. Now we're going to start chasing, like, names. And again, through injury, and again, I'm not blaming it, but he's not, like, the best player in the world. I think you can make that argument. 2019, maybe on to 2022 was Giannis. Giannis is not the best player in the world. Again, injuries are a part of it. I mean, but you have to play. And Giannis has played 3 postseason games in the last 2 years. The best player in the world is clearly Nikola Jokic. I don't even think it's debatable.
You're right about that. I don't think that's going to upset a lot of Bucks fans. But I would say this: it is about more postseason and championships than team account. Because wouldn't you say MVPs? There's a lot of flaws in the way we're just judging MVPs. Now, a lot of it is narrative driven. A lot of it is agenda driven. Billy and I have talked this a lot too. John, I know you have too. It's like Jokic is going to get these MVPs from voters,
There were people that decided they voted for it last year.
They decided mid-season.
Have they gotten it wrong with Joker, though? Has any of his MVPs he not deserved?
I thought Luka deserved it more this year.
You thought Luka did this year. I thought Giannis should have gotten more conversation for MVP. I get it. Jokic is a VORP god and all these different analytics, and his teams it does perform, as well. So far, I mean, they've come back in this series now. We'll wait and see what happens. But I just say it's tough for me to use just MVP. And even then, I don't think people are going to sit there and argue with it. But you're right. He has not embraced Denver like the way Giannis has embraced Milwaukee.
I just think, and Trey, you correct me if I'm wrong. I just think Joker's game, his style of play, has better lasting power. It has more longevity than Giannis's, and it can be more consistently at a high level. than the way Giannis plays.
Oh, and yeah, there's no doubt about that. Like Joker, yeah, he can shoot, he can score at really 3 levels. He has a legitimate post-up game that doesn't just involve finishing with a dunk. He doesn't need, it's not again, and that's the argument again that everybody got upset about, and rightfully so, because I don't like it. But that's your skill, your bag. Well, Giannis doesn't have a bag. Like, that's your bag argument. Like, Joker has a bigger bag. Giannis's bag, he does a few things like at an extremely high level. Joker does a lot of things at a very high level too, but he just does more things. And when you're able to do more things, you're right. Yeah, you can last a little bit longer, and you're gonna have to find a way to get to incorporate some more things into his bag, mainly a jump shot. The only thing I go back to, though, so I think you're right, longevity-wise, the only thing I go back to is the only MVP I think Joker didn't really deserve was the one, I think that was his first one, where the Nuggets finished, like, they had a bunch of injuries that year, and they finished like 6th in the West, and the voters gave him the MVP because he like kept them into the playoffs. That felt very much like the Russell Westbrook MVP, where they gave it to Russell Westbrook because he averaged triple-double, and then he averaged triple-double the next year after it, and they're like, well, it's not impressive anymore. Like, it didn't make much sense. So yeah, that's the one I really don't think Joker should have gotten. Everything else, I mean, again, well deserved. And again, it probably would have went to Embiid this year, but Embiid got hurt midway through the season.
Yeah, because he was dominating before he got hurt.
He was, but we knew he was going to get hurt. We even predicted it right here on the show. But going back to this series, I do think it's Gordon and Murray outplaying Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert in the last 2 games. I mean, it's come down to who is the teammate or the teammates of Joker in this series.
Oh, no, absolutely. They're playing much better. And again, another guy, you talk about awards, Rudy Gobert, and again, I'm not saying he's not a great defender. He is a really, really good defender. I know it's a regular season award, but how many times, like, Rudy Gobert, are you going to trick us into thinking, he's like, I just don't like the narrative that he's like one of the greatest defender of all time. Like, he's in that type of category. I think he has 4 now defensive player of the year awards, and it's like that doesn't always translate. And so again, I get it, it's a regular season award. Minnesota has the number 1 defense, so I understand that, and he anchors that. I totally get it, but it just doesn't seem like it translates every single year into the postseason. I know a couple games, against that, especially that one game, I think it was game 2. I mean, where and heck, I think that was the game Gobert had his baby, so I don't think he was available for that one. But yeah, I remember that game. Like, they were ferocious defensively. But yeah, I agree with you. I think both of those players, Aaron Gordon in particular, has outplayed the counterparts in Minnesota. You are seeing some of that. And let me ask you this: do you believe as well? Like, I'm starting to become of the belief that the winner of this series is going to be your NBA champion.
Yeah, this is the finals for me.
I mean, you feel that way? You do feel that way, Trey? But the Celtics are going to walk to an NBA Finals because they got a team in the first round whose best player was hurt. Now they got a team in the second round whose best player is apparently hurt. They could play the Knicks, who 4 of their guys are hurt. I mean, they might walk into an NBA championship fresh. And these teams in the West it looks like they're going to beat each other up. I mean, the Mavs. I mean, I'm not counting out the Mavs on anything right now. When you talk about Kyrie, you talk about Luka, and you want to talk about a big man. I'd rather have Gafford on my team in the playoffs than Rudy Gobert.
Well, that's an interesting thought. Gafford played well. I think Lively's played well for Dallas as well. Here's my issue with it. Look at the game, and here's my issue with Dallas. And I might agree with you. And I, you guys know, everybody knows I think I mentioned before. I think I was right on Jason Kidd. He's coaching his tail off, in particular this series.
That made Armin so mad. Armin's so pissed.
No, just if they would have held on last night, it wouldn't have taken you this long to bring him up. That's all I know. But they didn't, so you didn't. So
he got a nice contract extension as well to stay with the Mavericks. But I'll say this: here's the issue, and here's why. Also, I can't blame Jason Kidd for anything that happened last night. Luka is still injured. I know he got hurt right before the playoffs started, right around the playoffs.
He is banged up, yes.
He's had a nagging injury. You can't. I mean, again, I think he put up 20 points on 18 shots. No, he put up 18 points on 20 shots, whatever it was last night. And then you talk about not holding on to that game. The best player on the floor was Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Like, and we talk about Luka winning MVP. Luka has to be the best player. Like it wasn't even close. It's not close.
Mhm.
He was the best player on the floor that last night. And then at the end of the game, Dallas still has an opportunity to win the game. And what does Luka do? Down 2, he goes and misses the free throw. Like that was another moment where
Sure.
again, Luka. This postseason, and Luka's had some great postseasons in the past. That's why I'm giving him a pass, and I do think he is injured and suffering from some nagging injuries that have just prolonged. It's kind of I feel kind of bad because Luka's in a position where he's not hurt enough to sit out, but because he can clearly move and play, but he does look injured enough to where he's clearly not at 100%. So he's giving these performances that are not, Luka-esque, and So I think that's my issue with Dallas right now is Luka is not playing at the level that he needs to play at for the Mavericks to compete, in my opinion, for a championship. And really, like I just wouldn't feel comfortable with him at the next level against Denver or Minnesota if Luka is not going to be the best player on the floor or very close to it. And right now, he's struggling a bit. And again, that's why I give Jason Kidd and the Mavericks a lot of credit because they are staying in basketball games with Luka not even playing at his max levels. So again, a lot of credit to them for fighting, but they're gonna need him to pick it up in these last 2-2 series, and they got to find a way to get 2 games. And Luka's either gonna have to pick it up, or somebody else is gonna have to pick it up.
Yeah, it's a tough thing about fighting through injuries because, John, whatever you put on tape is still what people remember you for.
Yeah, but I still, I love what I'm watching Jalen Brunson doing. He's banged up as well. Luka's banged up. We see so many guys sit out. I mean, Donovan Mitchell last night sat out with a calf strain. That was a big surprise. I even had to go back and find out, was this getting announced as a possibility before? I didn't find anything even before the game to pop up after he was sitting out of this game. And, I give him a ton of credit. He's out there. He's banging his face off the court. He got caught picking his nose after the game. All kinds of embarrassing stuff for Luka, but he's going out there doing it.
No, a lot of respect for going out and doing it. But, yeah, I think that's right. It's what you put out is what you put out. That's what people will talk about, much like Giannis last year, who played in the rest of that Heat series. He was banged up, had a bad back. And, again, he's going to get blamed. When he says, season, wasn't a failure, steps to success, people are going to criticize you for it. So, I mean, Luka's going to have to still face the music. Same with Donovan Mitchell. And then Jared Allen, I don't know what kind of rib injury he has.
It's got to be a lung thing at this point. If it's that gruesome that they don't even want to talk about it, it's got to be something with an internal organ, I'm guessing, that they don't want to put it out there. Because otherwise, just say you got a broken rib and people are going to understand it a whole lot more.
Yeah, it does seem odd that Jared Allen missed, and he missed a game 7 as well. Against I can't remember who it was against Orlando.
Yeah.
I think he hasn't played since game 5 or something like that. We're 4 games into this Knicks series now. Into the Boston series now. So interesting there too. But again, people talk about the 22-1, they call it the hospital ring, the Bucks one. What are you calling this? Literally, every series, some major player has been injured, either not playing or playing severely hampered. And so, tough breaks all around.
Playoff basketball. It's the way that we love it. You're watching guys fall down and not even fouls getting called. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing that can happen. All right. Spoiler alert. If you don't want to hear, if you haven't seen the last episode of Survivor, please just turn the volume down. Don't change the station. Just turn the volume down for exactly 2 minutes. Because I got to ask Trey, 4 in a row. 4 in a row. I've never seen such poor play in a Survivor season. 4 in a row. Jem, Hunter, Tiffany, and now Venus all go home with an idol in their hands. I think with each person that goes home consecutively, it gets exponentially worse. How do they keep making these mistakes?
I truly don't know. And again, I'm trying to give myself, maybe because we're viewing it, that, if you were there, maybe they're just not seeing it or not understanding it. But I think at this point they have to know what's going on. Venus should have played. She wins out. She gets out. She should have played it 100%. But here's your other issue. They talk too much. Why at the end does Venus tell? She's telling people, hey, she's telling Charlie, hey, I have an advantage.
Dumb.
You want to work. Think about it. You want to work with somebody, so you want to build trust with this person. And you go. And the first thing you do to build trust with them is go up and tell them, I have a secret you don't know about. I won't tell you till after the vote. That seems shady to me. And of course she goes home. Why wouldn't she go home?
Well, because you talk about talking so much. She just got done saying in the episode, I'm not going to go out like Tiffany. I'm not going to go out with an idol in my pocket. And then she says, I'm not going to tell anybody I have an idol. She did absolutely both of those. Doesn't it feel like now your boy Q is 100% back in the game and he's going to the final three with Charlie and Maria?
There's no question Q is back in the game, and again, I think here's the thing: I think they are somewhat underestimating him. Because I think that the thing is, why wouldn't you bring Q with you all the way to the end?
He's going
You're
to the end.
probably thinking he's made enough people upset in the jury that there's no way they're going to vote for him. I think that may be true. I still think there's a compelling argument to say, look, I was kind of behind all this. I should have been dead in the water, and I'm still here. Again, they could say, hey, I made sure you came with me. But Maria has 100% put a target on her back. And I think, so it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out, too. But again, I think the funny thing is, I think Liz, right? Like another episode where I just don't understand people feeling, I don't say feeling sorry for her, but, she now has rice or whatever it is. But it's just hilarious to me that, I thought that was an interesting move by Maria making them play. There was some, I do get the people being upset. Maria, just make your pick. Don't make the people play rock, paper, scissors. My goodness.
I loved it.
What are we doing,
Trey,
Maria?
Trey, I loved it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I can tell you one thing. If I was on Survivor, I absolutely would not pick Liz for a reward. Absolutely. I'm going to watch her blow up time and time again. And if I get to the end, I'm voting for Q because everybody let him go.
They absolutely have. And again, I do think you're right. He is 100% back in the game. If he can win, I think it'd be great for him to win some type of a challenge, do something for himself to make another move. Again, I understand he has to kind of stay in the shadows. But yeah, I would not be surprised at all if Q ends up in the final three and at least gets himself to the end there. He has done a great job of finding a way to stay alive. That's the name of the game, right? Survivor.
Well, surviving, Trey, 30 seconds. Sorry, I forgot to ask you this one earlier. What was LeBron doing last night?
I don't know. That was interesting, right?
Come on, you know.
Last time he gone to Cleveland. Last time he went to Cleveland, he ended up returning to Cleveland.
Returning?
He did something like that. He did something like that similar, right? And so, LeBron. I think these are all leverage plays. He's always up to something. I thought that was definitely interesting.
Always up to something.
Getting Brownie a job, whatever. That's
always up to some season. Yeah. And is that really a bad thing?
No, I have no problem with it. Do it.
Oh, you don't have a problem with
I really don't. In this
Sure
case.
sounds like
Tim
it.
Scott, he's working on it.
No,
Yeah,
I just think
sure
it's
sounds
not,
like
I don't
it.
think it's that secretive or clandestine. It's just obvious what he's doing.
Whatever that word means, we're going to find out during the break. Trey, really appreciate it, man. Thanks for the time, and we will talk next week.
Thank you, guys. Have a good one.
Trey Crosby on your T's and Q's every Saturday morning right here on The Game. Make sure you're checking it out as well as TCIIESQ on Twitter, and you're going to enjoy that all night long. It's 9 to noon, way late for a break. What do you think LeBron was up to last night? 414-799-1973. Getting to that next, 9 to noon on The Game.
Tune with his soul.
John Kuhn here for Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. And do not procrastinate any longer. There's no reason to wait to replace windows or doors in your home. Because if you order today, you get 0% interest for 4 years. That's 48 months, no interest. It's hard to believe that Pella can have this deal while nobody else has the same offer. But you only have until May 31st at Pella, so jump on it right now. And when it comes to replacing or upgrading your windows or doors, you want to feel confident that your choices will turn out exactly the way you envision them. Would it make more sense in your home to go with a black frame window or a white one? Whether your home is newer, classic, mid-century, modern, or something truly historic, Pella's Design Works lets you virtually see what your home will look like with their new windows and patio doors before you buy them. Having the opportunity to see things before you buy them, that's a good thing, right? Well, Pella has it. Vinyl, wood, fiberglass, Pella has all the options to bring your vision to life, creating the perfect style for your home. So get 0% interest-free financing for 48 months if you book by May 31st. So set your free in-home consultation today at PellaWI.com and tell Gina Della that John Kuhn sent you. Certain restrictions apply. See showroom for details.
Thanks to Trey Crosby of Behind Your T's and Q's for hanging out with us here on 9 to noon each and every Tuesday. Always fun, always enjoyable when Trey hops into the Iron Jack Studios, ironjoc.com. Attention runners and fitness enthusiasts. Now through May 19th, when you buy $50 or more of Iron Jack men's and women's socks, men's and women's short sleeve t-shirts, or Iron Jack shorts, you can take 30% off, 30% off with promo code 30 runners. That's 30 runners for 30% off at ironjoc.com. For more details, that's ironjoc.com. All right, fellas, what do you think LeBron was doing last night? He shows up. Now, said Brian Windhorst reported here today, Windy became the most popular man in sports media last night because we all believe he knows everything to do about LeBron James. We've learned a lot more over the last couple of years that not nearly as connected as maybe we might think he is to LeBron James. However, Windy said this morning on Get Up, fellas, last night as they panned over to LeBron, he shows up in the middle of the first media timeout, makes a grand entrance, put him on the Jumbotron last night at Cavs Celtics Game 4. He said, I had a bunch of executives and GMs just texting me my meme of my fingers up in the air like, what are we doing here? Let's connect some dots. So let's do it. LeBron did, as Trey said, in 2014, took a off night with the Miami Heat when they were in Chicago, flew to Cleveland for Big Z's, Druna Zilgauskas' jersey retirement, and promptly in July put out the I'm Coming Home Sports Illustrated cover and decided to return to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Last night gets a ruckus welcome. He returned to the Cavs. Is he trying to play for the Celtics?
I don't see that one happening. I don't know.
No?
What that one. Nah, why is everyone saying Celtics? I don't get that.
Well, I mean, because people just think he wants to go to the easiest way out, the easiest way to win a championship. I mean, the easiest way is probably the Celtics, who are going to be the favorites to win the Eastern Conference for the next, 3 or 4 years. What about you? What do you think, John?
I think LeBron knew what he was doing. He was chasing some attention, and he knows that his son Bronny is at the NBA Combine right now doing some workouts, and he's trying to find potential suitors for Bronny and he. It's a combo deal. It's never happened in the NBA where a father and son have played together on the same team, and he wants to be the first to be able to do that. I don't blame him for trying to drag Bronny along and give Bronny his lifelong dream of playing in the NBA. Parents want to do those things for their kids. They want to make those dreams come true. So I give LeBron credit for that. Probably, and physically, it's amazing because I wonder, is he extending his career for Bronny to be able to play a couple years in the NBA, to teach him, to take him under his wing, potentially make him better, and hope that he can stay in the NBA when he does eventually retire? Because he physically looks like he could play 5 more years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not slowing down from that standpoint.
It's really unbelievable. And he was in Cleveland last night, sitting courtside with a $1,000 bottle between his legs, saying, hey, anybody else interested in this thing? Or is it just the Lakers? The Lakers said they're going to help me out here, but is anybody else interested too? I want to make sure. I need some leverage in this. I want to make sure this actually goes down.
I would love to
pressure on the Lakers.
I would love to hear how that conversation went with Dan Gilbert, Armin.
I need tickets. Like that's a conversation?
No. Rich Paul handled the tickets.
I was going to say, someone's asking for tickets.
Rich Paul's handling the tickets.
Yeah.
Rich Paul represents, I think, 6 Cleveland Cavaliers. So
I'm saying
he's got tickets.
That might be how you start the conversation. I need tickets. You're coming in town? Yeah, I'm thinking about some things.
What's up with that letterhead? You guys still got it?
That one.
I think that's where the conversation with Dan Gilbert started, of the self-proclaimed king. Now, granted, that was a championship ago.
A lot happened since then, yeah.
I mean, I think LeBron is absolutely interested in going back to Cleveland.
I agree.
Like I would struggle to see him not interested in retiring with the Cavs. More importantly, because Donovan Mitchell's pretty good, Darius Garland's pretty good, Jared Allen's pretty good, Evan Mobley's really good. Like that was kind of similar to, hey, I'm gonna go see this Kyrie Irving guy in person, see if maybe I want to pair up with him. I gotta see him in person to see how he plays. Interesting stuff. Makes sense. Might as well do a little bit of free agency when it's already happening. Kirk Cousins obviously did his free agency a little bit earlier than the negotiating period for the NFL. Might as well scout it out.
And don't you think if he was really just in town, as it was reported, for Mother's Day, and he stayed an extra day to watch that game, Don't you think he could have been a little inconspicuous? Could have maybe gone up into a suite or a box or somewhere to watch the game.
Yeah. However, John, after sitting that close, no way in hell if I have the opportunity to sit there or sit in a box, I'm sitting in a box. Like, that is just way too much fun. That is way too good to be sitting courtside, stretching your legs out and throwing that $1,000 bottle in between your legs.
Yeah, also when you can get all the GMs and owners around the NBA seeing what you're doing, saying, all we need to do is get Bronny and we can get Bron.
What happens if they don't play on the same team? Because then everybody's take is going to be
shocked,
gone.
But yeah, that's true. Then it'll be a lot less of a story.
Is there a team in the NBA that would draft Bronny not knowing they would get LeBron too?
I think there are. Yeah, I think there are some teams that would take him knowing that they don't necessarily have LeBron. Also maybe thinking they could get him, but I don't necessarily think it's a 1,000% lock that they are teammates next year. 414-799-1973, NicoletLaw.com, talking text line. Talking about the negotiating period for the NFL, they like to throw that legal tampering in. They like to pump up the schedule leaks. These are announcements. We'll get to a couple of good ones and one that has already Aaron Rodgers fans either worried or celebrating. We'll discuss before hour 3 and 9 and noon. It's next on The Game.
Yeah. 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 Two-step with me. Two-step with me. One. Then comes the 2 to the 3 to the 4. Everybody drunk out on the dance floor. Baby girl ass jiggle like she want more. Like she a groupie and I ain't even no tour. Maybe cause she heard that I rhyme hardcore. Or maybe cause she heard that I buy out the stores. Bottom of the ninth in the city got the score. If not, I gotta move on to the next floor. Then comes the 3 to the 2 to the
Armin, I
1.
know I'm sorry we're late for a break. I know that we're right up against it, but you play tipsy.
I know. It's
This
fine.
backed up. You already know that I'm going to let it run a little bit.
It's my fault for playing Jaquan. And Armin, if you didn't want that to happen, you shouldn't have bumped it.
Jaquan, an athlete, could I throw him in on my who would you want to switch with? Because I could imagine at this exact moment, he walks in and just plays this song in any establishment when it was hot.
That was big.
That was probably a good time. All right, so I'm sitting on a couple things here that I think are going to, John, make Armin Sarian very, very enthused.
Okay, good.
I got one that involves the world of tennis, one that involves the world of the NFL,
Okay.
and one that involves college basketball. Which one should I go with first?
Oh, it's got to be tennis.
Got to be tennis.
All
Okay.
right, let's go. Let's go.
Announcing today, set to premiere June 20th, Federer. 12 final days, chronicling the last 12 days of Roger Federer's career
that's good.
on Amazon Prime.
No, that's good. That's something I'm going to watch. That's good right there. That's going to be good.
Now,
content.
what about the last 12 days am I missing? Did he win his final event and then walked off into the sunset? Or
I'm trying to think if there was something specific 12 days. Maybe they're just picking 12 days. I'm
Okay.
not really sure.
Well, it's a weird number to pick, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. That's why I didn't know, like, if it was his final
tournament,
Wimbledon, final tournament,
yeah,
or something.
It might be something like that. I can't remember exactly what his official retirement
Yeah,
time
it's
was.
probably how long he lasted in his last official tournament.
That makes sense.
Something like that.
Yeah, that would make sense. Okay.
What was his last tournament, Armin?
Oh, I'm blanking now. I can't.
Man,
I can't
You don't
remember
have that
if
off the top of your
No,
head?
I don't.
Super interested in this too.
I don't think there was some sort of like walk off.
It wasn't like a
walk-off
legendary
Super
win
Bowl.
at Wimbledon to finish his career, right?
I don't think so.
Okay,
I
well-
don't think we would have remembered that, right?
Well,
Maybe I'm just being a
you
bad
would
fan.
have. I'll be honest with you. I don't know that
Yeah.
I would have. In the same vein of documentaries, let's go to the NFL. And now this one is hilarious to me. Amazon has now approved a true crime documentary
Oh my gosh.
chronicling the story of a Chiefs fan turned bank robber known as Chiefsaholic.
That's a wild story, actually. That with the wolf wasn't it a costume?
Documentary entitled Chiefsaholic, a wolf in Chiefs clothing, will tell the story of Xavier Bubadar, aka Chiefsaholic. He's interviewed for the doc. He's in jail for robbing banks to try to get money to go to every single Chiefs game.
I think I'm more interested in that than I am Roger Federer's last tournament playing doubles with Rafael Nadal.
Yeah,
Yeah,
'cause
I'm
you
also
know-
interested in that.
You know, it was the Labor Cup, right? You know, he's going to be all puppy dogs and sunshine and
Labor
roses.
Cup.
Labor Cup is a tournament. So
Okay.
that's what you're right. Because the Roger Federer thing will be cool, but it won't be any drama to it, right? It'll be just like puppy dogs and sunshine and what's it like to be him, which I want to see. But this will be interesting too.
This will be very interesting.
Laura's going to be all over this one.
All
We're
right,
going to watch it.
college basketball, I need to know before we leave.
This
Well,
might be the best one for last. Now you already know the turnover that's going on at UWGB.
Yeah.
Sundance
Sunny's
Wicks
out. Yeah, the sun is set.
going home.
Right.
This from John Rothstein, serious candidate from the media world, has emerged as a head coaching candidate at Green Bay.
Is it Doug?
Butch.
Doug Gottlieb?
Doug Gottlieb
Again, this happened before.
has emerged as a
Yes.
serious candidate for the head coaching vacancy at Green
Nobody
Bay.
even heard me say Butch.
I-
Come on,
I
I thought
did.
that was
I
great.
did.
I
I
thought
did.
it was great.
John, if it's not Butchie, it's got to be Gottlieb. Like I saw Kyle Malzahn of Channel 5 in Green Bay putting out like, man, I don't know where they go. I don't know where they go from here. I wanted to throw. It's pretty clear. They
It's
hire
easy.
Brian Butch.
Well, yeah.
Yeah,
They
it's
hire
easy.
Brian Butch.
If he wants
and he
to
would
do
literally tell you, it's easy, it's simple.
Guys, listen.
Listen. I was at McDonald's all. It's not that hard. All right.
The reason I say that is
It's
because
drop and up.
Listen, it's not, we could all play football too, but we don't. We play basketball and we do it at UWGB.
I would love
Egg, sausage.
the nutrition plan would be outrageous.
no, but that Gottlieb's been mentioned before for this job. This is not the first time. I remember this. I
Because he
remember him being-
almost got it when Sonny got
Yes,
it.
yes. This was like a whole thing. So I don't mean to change it. Yes, the Butch thing would be great though.
Pumpkins,
Yeah.
cucumbers, tomatoes.
Who's got him right now? I want to know whose guys are going to step up in this locker room.
Pumpkins, cucumbers, tomatoes.
That's it right there.
Yeah, I just listen. Out of all the Butchisms that
Oh
you
my
got in
gosh.
this, could you imagine those press conferences?
That'd be
Sweat equity.
unbelievable.
Dude, we'd be airing every one.
We
I mean, like,
would.
it would be unbelievable.
Live to Green Bay as we get Coach Brian Butch's
Coach Brian
comments from
Butch's
last night's
shoot
game.
around here before IUPUI visits the Rush Center.
I
Oh
got
my
hammer
God.
toes.
That's
Now, the interesting thing is, Gottlieb said, I'll take your job. I'll be your head basketball coach. I'll be your Huckleberry. You got to let me keep doing my national radio show from the office. Think they're going to do it this time? Hey, NIL
why not? Why not? If you're Green Bay, yes. If
could
you're
bring in a bunch of cash that way, maybe.
Yeah.
Fascinating situation up there. Fascinating situation up there. I love it.
Like, no one's sending me nude.
Let's delete that one if he actually wants to be a candidate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he's clear.
You
No
trying
one's,
to,
no
are you
one's
trying
sending
to
it to
tank
him.
his candidacy
No,
here?
no one's sending him. He's not. You can't cancel him. Butch is uncancelable.
He is uncancelable.
You know.
Butch and Barkley,
I'm a 10. I'm
Well,
a 10.
the two cancelable souls in America, Brian Butch and Charles Barkley. They're one and the same. Hour 3 is always our best hour yet. It comes up right after this. Coon, Billy, and Armin with you on the game. is our best one yet, and it features John Kuhn, two-time Super Bowl champion, with all of you. 414-799-1973. I'm Billy Schmidt. Armin Sarian here as well. We've been asking you all day long. You get one athlete to switch with one day. Who would it be? And there are some remarkable answers rolling through on the talking text line. I got to say, I personally am into a couple people throwing Stone Cold's name in there. Because when that glass breaks, there's no arena that gets more fired up than when Stone Cold back in the 90s was walking in, drinking beer after kicking somebody's ass. I mean, like, that's a great one to be able to enjoy maybe two things that you love: drinking beer and beating people up. That would be a good time. Andre the Giant, to be able to drink that much booze, you're not doing that in the arena. But I love the fact that we get some wrestlers in there. Still got some people that are holding out hope. Not many people into the drinking variety, throwing out John Daly's name. That really is just being you on the golf course on steroids, right? You actually being good while hitting the perfect amount of aiming fluid for your 18 holes of golf, if you're going to try to go as John Daly for that situation. So 414-799-1973. Keep them coming.
John Daly, he golfs shirtless. He golfs without shoes on. So it's not just being good. It's having so much fun while you're doing it.
Yeah, and unapologetically having
Sure.
more fun than anybody else, right? Like, some people don't like it, but a friend of mine, I remember reaching out. I think he was at the AmFam event down at University Ridge the one time. My friend Nick was trying to get John Daly to sign his Marb Red box.
That's a good idea.
Finally, I think on hole 14 or 15, he said, "Yeah, let me see that thing. Are there any in it?"
Yeah, well, you should.
Yeah, there's one in it. One, grab that, signed the box, and then kept the heater. I mean, like, that's A1 if
So,
you're able to do that.
Let me ask you, everybody's had an Arnold Palmer, right? Everybody's had one
Love
of those.
those.
And it's
Love
made
those.
and it's made Arnie a boatload of money, since he was done playing. I want to
Just off me, I bought a bunch of them. Yeah.
Does John Daly, because a lot of golf courses have taken the Arnold Palmer spin and going John Daly and throwing
Yep.
vodka in it. Does he have one? Does he have a vodka and a half and half in a can?
I don't believe in a can. They might sell it at Hooters, however.
Does he have a deal with like Arizona Tea or somebody? Is what you're saying? Good
John-
boy vodka.
I was
Good-
just going to say, yeah,
yeah.
Good Boy Vodka, a John Daly alcoholic mixed drink consisting of lemonade, iced tea, and vodka, named after the American golfer. But
He's definitely
Good Boy
making
Vodka, I don't see exactly where we're buying that in stores.
maybe not, but he's definitely making money off it because his name and likeness is on it. So
But there's so many places that say John Daly.
Sure.
Yeah, let me get a John Daly.
I mean, I don't see his name or imaging or anything like that. And I doubt he's getting residuals from Green Bay Country Club when they make a John Daly.
true.
That's
true.
got to be one of the first things that cart people learn, right? Like the cart servers of, hey, this is what they mean when they say a John Daly. Oh, okay, got it. Sweet. Let me put that down.
There's another
That
one.
will be the most suggested drink on the course. Okay, sweet.
This is from 2017, so it's probably old. So he probably has a new deal with the Good Boy Vodka. But this is John Daly partners with Fusion Projects on a line of hard teas. So whatever company this was, so somebody was making it. It just wasn't. I mean, obviously the Arnold Palmer was Arizona, which is a big tea company. So
Well,
they've been getting deals, John. It looks
And the
like
first ones to the market are always the winners. right?
always. Yeah.
How many other grills are there? I know George Foreman's grill like took off, but aren't there like 3 or 4 others that tried to do the same thing?
I-
Didn't quite take off like
I think those little
Foreman grill
Cuisinart
does?
probably.
But
thing.
they're Cuisinart, but I don't know if they're branded from an athlete. Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, what other things are there
Armin,
that are similar?
trivia question for you.
Yeah.
Who was the athlete first given the option
Oh, I
to
heard
do
this.
a grill, but chose not
But
to
passed.
do it?
But passed. I heard this.
Passed on the Foreman grill concept.
What was another boxer?
I don't know.
I thought-
I know who it is, but I don't want to give you an
I
answer.
want to
Yeah,
say.
what are
Are
you
you
trying
gonna-
to answer it?
He's
or
asking.
ask?
No, I remember
This
this.
is a quiz-
Evander.
Wrong.
It wasn't a different. I thought it was like another
It's Hulk
boxer.
Hogan.
Hulk. Oh, yeah, Hulk. Yes. So the
Should've been.
wrestler. So same kind of idea in a ring fighting. I knew there was something to this, and he lost a lot of money. Now Hulk made money on reality shows and other things, obviously, but not as much as I'm sure George made on the grill, because that thing is a great grill. That
Yeah,
thing
I'm
was.
sure-
That thing's how. I mean, before I
Got
was
me through
married,
college. It
that's
got
how.
me- I
I-
could make a steak in 5 College Park on the Foreman
When I
grill.
first lived by myself, I didn't really know
Chicken
how to
breasts.
cook. That's how I cook.
Foreman
love
grill.
that.
That's how-
Paninis.
yeah.
Foreman grill.
Easy. That's how I learned how to
Damn.
cook. That was awesome.
Billy, are you unfamiliar with the Foreman grill?
No, I mean I know them, but I never had one.
You never had a Foreman grill. Your
Mm-mm,
parents
no.
never bought you a Foreman grill for college. I feel like that's a necessity for kids
No,
growing
I
up.
mean, I was much more of a griddle fan. I think that's why I like the blacktop. So like, I mean, if I
Similar,
was,
right?
yeah, so I mean, like I would just have the indoor griddle, and that would make all my pancakes. And I wasn't necessarily making a whole lot of meat. I did have like my dad's old Weber grill out back in the college house, though.
It was good for burgers, not as much for sausages. Like you could do it, but you're not cooking one evenly through very well in the George Foreman. So good for
Grilling in
burgers.
college also never worked out for us very well. It always ended up in way more drinking than grilling. And then all of a sudden somebody
Oh,
said,
but
"Hey, we
that's-
should probably flip that meat."
But that's part of the fun. It's part of the
Yeah,
experience.
not when you burn all the good stuff that you
Ah.
went and bought and you only had $48 to spend. You could have
True.
just bought 3 packs instead of 2, and then that thing of brats that are now completely charred.
But you're
We
cool
weren't
with
good
it
at it.
because you were drank enough where you're okay with eating the burnt meat. You know what I mean? So it's a whole like,
Yeah, or we just, found an Armin that had a bunch of meal swipes and then
there you
let
go.
us drunkenly go on into the main dining hall. All right, 414-799-1973. It is also schedule release week in the NFL for all those that celebrate. Now, leaks are different than announcements, and the NFL is just announcing these moment by moment by moment. We have a certain amount already released. We already knew yesterday Ravens and Chiefs will open up the NFL season on September 5th. Friday, we knew that the Green Bay Packers will be visiting Brazil with the Philadelphia Eagles for that game. Yesterday, Michael Strahan announced to Tom Brady. I don't know if you guys saw this. Fox Sports put Tom Brady out in front of their global sellers meeting, right? I think they call it up front. Similar to how Pat McAfee was introduced last year to all the investors in Disney as the new face of ESPN, and the viewership has definitely worked out for them. That Tom Brady's first game will feature the Dallas Cowboys against the Cleveland Browns. Okay. I mean, I guess, right? Like I didn't think the Browns were going to be that first feature game against the Eagles for a particular reason. Instead, they'll throw Deshaun and the Browns in with Brady for his first game. And then Brady also said, "We'll see if Dak Prescott ever comes through." Interesting. If I remember correctly, your last NFL game, Dak beat you by 3 touchdowns.
Mhm.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. That I remember that correctly. Also today, week 1 Monday Night Football has been announced. The New York Jets will open on Monday Night Football, but not at MetLife. They'll go to the San Francisco 49ers for Monday Night Football. Ghosts of the torn Achilles passed away from MetLife Stadium for week 1 for the New York Jets. And then week 2, we have Thursday Night Football. First Thursday night game on Prime will be the Bills and Dolphins. And then week 2 on CBS, their first main window game, Bengals and Chiefs. Chiefs open up with back-to-back rematches of the last 2 AFC championship games with the Ravens and Bengals. Welcome to 2024, Pat Mahomes. That's one quick way to walk on in and see what you got in 2024 if you're Kansas City.
Yeah, they're knocking their really tough opponents off the list rather quickly. The Chiefs surprisingly fall right in the middle of the NFL for strength of schedule going into a season after they won the Super Bowl. Funny how that thing works out that way. But they're knocking them out. I'm fascinated that the NFL decided to go Jets again for Monday Night Football. It's like, all right, whoops, mulligan. Last year didn't work out. We're just going to do it again. Let's keep him off the turf for a game, at least for this game. Let's put him on grass. I mean, he's still going to get bumps and bruises, but he shouldn't tear an Achilles on the grass. So let's put him on the grass. Let's try this thing again. Aaron Rodgers as a Jet.
So many people have such a way with putting out tweets when you find out about Aaron Rodgers going and visiting there. And then I saw one individual on social media. Here is Ari Muroff, the My Sports Update guy. He goes, Aaron Rodgers will make his return to Monday Night Football. And Leonard Floyd, the player who sacked him, resulting in his torn Achilles last year, will be on the other side as he now plays for the 49ers. Damn, Ari, pulling it right out there. I have to look across at Leonard Floyd.
That's interesting.
I honestly,
Go ahead, Billy.
I honestly didn't remember that Leonard Floyd signed with the 49ers. Like that's a nice signing for them.
I didn't remember either. I was going to say that. I also don't think that Aaron's going to be thinking about that. I think he's thinking about playing on grass. Probably. He's probably happy about that. I think he's probably fine to go back to San Francisco. People are making such a big deal about this, like he just got drafted or something like that. Like it's been, he's from that area, but it's also been like 20 years. You know what I mean? So it's
also been a while since he's won.
Yeah, I don't.
Against the 49ers.
That's why I would take the Niners in that game. Personally.
We'll see what the odds are on that one coming up here in a couple of minutes, because if we're going to be honest with ourselves, when we see NFL games announced, that means, hey, betting lines are going to start opening up. And we're big fans of that when Potawatomi Hotel Casino Sportsbook is right down the road. And we got a guy like John Kuhn who just can't miss.
The man can't miss. Time now for Coons Can't Miss. Presented by the Potawatomi Sportsbook. Bet big, bet bull.
Yeah, like Billy said, it's right down the road. It's a skip, hop, and a jump for most of our listeners out there. And if you haven't seen it yet, what are you waiting for? 2,000 glorious square feet of an LED curved screen. That's all I need to say. But I'll add in the fact that it's the biggest bar in Potawatomi Casino Hotel Sportsbook. It also has a studio booth on the top floor to look down and enjoy the festivities, and it's got seating and standing room for over 400 patrons with an open concept, so you can easily walk from the book to the floor, from the floor to the book to the poker room. You can just keep rolling yourself through there before you roll yourself out of Potawatomi with a whole bucket of cash in your pocket. All right, now we've been doing pretty good on these parlays. We started last Friday with the 2-team parlay, got that thing capitalized. Yesterday went with another parlay, Oklahoma City plus 1.5, Donovan Mitchell under 30.5. Donovan Mitchell did not play, but had you gone down there and taken my advice, you still got yourself a victory. You got yourself the singular victory, which at least paid back what you put in and a little bit of change on top of that. So we got 2 wins back to back. Let's go for it. Let's keep rolling, fellas. Let's do another parlay. And I put this one together during the break. I like this. How about tonight? 2 NBA games. We're going to pick a prop here with Nikola Jokic. Over 50.5 total points, rebounds, and assists. He's at home tonight. He's going to show out tonight. He's going to show off tonight. I don't like the line of 4 in that game. 4 is one of those lines that'll get a cover. So I don't want to go there, but I think the Nuggets win a close one at home, and I think Jokic is a big part of that. Over 50.5 total points, rebounds, and assists. And you pair that up with the Indiana Pacers finally getting a victory at Madison Square Garden. They've been there twice. They've played down to the wire twice. Some bad calls have not gone their way twice. This time, this battle of attrition that the Knicks are playing with is not going to get them to the finish line. I got the Pacers plus 1.5 paired up with Nikola Jokic tonight. That's a parlay. We got 2 in a row. We're going for 3, babe. About to start streaking on parlays, Armin. That's a big deal.
Yeah, if you can get streaking on parlays, that's an absolute huge deal. And the Jokic over special there, the points, rebounds, assists is always an interesting one because the number's usually pretty high because he gets that a lot. And sometimes I think it's been going under this playoff, so the line's been depressed a little bit to 50.5. A lot of times it's 53.5.
A lot
54.
of times it's right around 54.
Yeah. So I think you might be getting a little bit of value there.
We got a value pick.
You got to be thinking Jokic is going to have a big game now. Sometimes he does, but it's assist heavy, it's rebound heavy. So this will be a fun one to watch. Let's see if he fills it up and gets a bunch of those numbers. And then you got Pacers 1.5. So let's see if this parlay works out for you, John. Like you said yesterday, Donovan Mitchell didn't play, so that one just gets ejected from the parlay. It just became a regular bet. So that's how that works.
Still getting the money.
Yep. If you still get the money, that's how it works. If you get a better parlay and you get a push, or you just get a DNP, it just gets taken out of the list there. A lot of people ask that question.
I got to be honest, though. I'm kind of surprised. You didn't go Caitlin Clark, Indiana Fever, opening with her WNBA regular season debut against Armin's Connecticut Sun.
Okay,
at Mohegan Sun Arena.
I'm going to give you how many points I think she scores, and you tell me if it's over or under the line that they set. I think she scores 15 points tonight.
That would be under.
That'd be under.
Yeah, 20.5 is her line.
Whew. That's a great line to start your WNBA career. And by the way, they're on these private charter planes now.
I saw that.
A lot of videos coming out of them. She's sitting in the first seat. She's already got that.
She knows what's up.
I don't know if
Coach's
she's
seat.
got the captaincy yet,
Yeah.
but she is right there, front seat, as soon as you get on the plane. WNBA, man, hey, we'll take those private charters. Yeah,
I noticed
we'll take
that.
those private charters and run.
I noticed that. Maybe because she's the rookie. She wasn't like playing cards. She wasn't getting the food in the back. She wasn't whooping it. She was just sitting there front seat, sitting there straight. Headphones.
She's ready to go.
Yeah.
Let
ready
me
to
ask
play.
you guys, as the WNBA is in a spot where they actually lose money every year.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
As players, how much money would you have sacrificed on your salary to ensure the chartered flights?
So I've never flown charter, so I don't know how amazing it is.
That's exactly what I was
I
going to say.
think that will break me. I'll fly commercial if it means I get an extra 100,000,
I obviously would agree with
an
that.
extra 50,000.
Here's the problem. I've only flown commercial, so everyone talks about how much better it is. And I just have never experienced that. So I can't really say any different. Now, I'm sure they were flying first class.
But damn,
commercial.
walking up on that runway, they pull that thing down and you walk right up onto the
Sure.
stairs.
You can lay down
That
on the
sounds
seats.
fun.
You can do all kinds of stuff probably. You
The
know,
average salary in the WNBA is what, like 120?
I think
It
that's
was
right.
similar.
the-
Yeah, it was
the-
close to
The
that.
rookie salaries are like 77 a year. The highest in the league is 240, I want to say. I'll look it up for you guys. I mean, I don't
Well-
think it'd be 100,000 increase, but you'd get a
Maybe 50,000, I'd do it. I like, I
140
was,
yeah, so sorry. It's 147. Yeah.
yeah, that's like a third of my salary if I'm throwing that out
Yeah,
there.
I mean-
I'll be very interested in that. I'll make that money work. What about you, John?
I think you're talking 150,000. You're giving me, if you give me a 20% increase, I'm taking the money. If you give me a 10% increase, 15,000, I'm thinking about flying commercial.
Yeah, I'm thinking
about it.
Yeah, I'll be fine.
I'm thinking about flying commercial.
Exactly. I mean, but again, I've already lived in that world. So to me, it's like, no, it's hard for me to say that. Like, you know, it's like, would you want to get an increase to have to wash your own uniforms? Like, at what level do you say that? Because I'm sure that's how they're thinking too.
Don't ask
So-
Allie. I'm not doing any of my own laundry anyway.
You could give me any increase. I'd wash my own laundry. Just
Yeah.
for an
'Cause
increase
what-
in pay. Yeah.
Even in the NBA, once upon a time, that's what was happening. I mean, that's
Now,
just the way it
football
was.
uniforms and basketball uniforms are a
Hockey
different story.
and hockey.
Basketball can go in there real quick, real easy. Football,
In and
you gotta
out,
take
yep.
all the pads off and, you know, all that other
Sure.
hoop. You got to spray the pads down because they start stinking. That's a different story.
What kind of revelation was that for you at Shippens? You guys have the belt loop where you just throw all the stuff on and then they do the laundry quick,
Yeah, that
like
was
your
pretty
practice.
cool. That was
Dude,
pretty cool.
when that happened, oh my God, there was probably 3 days in saying, "Hey fellas, stop throwing jeans on the laundry loop." So everyone's like, "All right, sweet. This is free laundry. I might as well keep doing it." No, not that good, but it was pretty sweet.
All right, now I get some people saying that the Sunburn Bowl was a private. See, that really was a charter, but it wasn't like a private flight. Does that count as flying private? I don't know.
No, because you guys still had to go through TSA and everything else.
it was just
Yeah.
it was our plane. We get it. It was a
There's
charter.
something really nice about flying these chartered planes, you know, in these professional leagues. You still go through TSA, but it's not the same. I mean, you're just
Are they
right
Is
there.
it like that old guy at the concert? All right, go on in.
And not even everybody. Not even everybody. It's a random list.
Do they,
Makes sense how
uh,
Gilbert Arenas got through so many years in the
when
NBA.
when you flew with the team, do they like tell you to seat belts fastened, all that stuff?
Nope.
None
No.
of that stuff.
No,
Nope.
See, that's what I'm saying. You
Don't
know,
bother you with your cell phones or anything
tray.
like
You didn't
that.
need the tray table.
in
Tray
the
table
upright
down.
position.
The
Dang,
tray table thing, man. That was
that
Stand
might
up.
get you right there.
You can stand up for takeoff and landing.
You can go to the
if you want
bathroom
Wow,
anytime
during
you want.
turbulence?
Oh, yeah.
Son of a gun.
Be careful.
fun-
doing
I
that,
might be
though.
changing this
That
answer.
is dangerous. Be careful.
I might be
doing that.
changing this answer.
You know, do you have to learn how to, like, you know, if you're in the exit row, are you okay with helping in case of emergency?
Yes.
Yes. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, somebody was on a flight once, had no idea. what
And
was
some
going
guy
on.
always has their headphones on while they're answering, while they're asking, "Hey, buddy, there's only 24 seconds that we need you to take those headphones off. Just yes, boom, put them right back on."
Sitting on a flight and they ask somebody that and they shake their head and they're like, "No, I need you to verbally say yes," and then they just shake their head again. It's like, I'm gonna start wringing your neck if
Yeah.
you don't let her walk the rest of the way through this aisle.
Yeah, either that or we're kicking you on out. Right? You get one chance to answer the question right. You get one.
The guy said no once, and they replaced him. It's like, no,
It's
I'm
fantastic.
not. Like, why'd you get that seat then?
Wait, somebody actually
Yeah.
said no.
I remember them switching somebody. Anybody else want to sit here? I remember this. Years
All
ago.
hands go up.
I think I was so confused of why a guy would sit there and say no. Aren't you prepared for that situation? Last
Well,
flight
Do
I
you
was
think
on-
he sat down in his next seat and went to the person that he sat to and went, "Phew, glad I don't have to help if it's an emergency. How about
Right.
you?"
Right.
I wasn't saving anybody.
Pressure's off now. I'm going to bed. Pressure's off, right? It's like you might as well say yes. You know, last time I was flying, someone thought it was pick where you want to sit. I'm like, is this your first time flying?
It's your first rodeo?
I think I'm like, yeah, you're in
Well,
my
they
seat.
only flew Southwest.
Yeah, only Southwest.
Well,
Airlines.
well, trust me, you know me. It was Spirit. So I was like, it's like
Knew it wasn't American.
she go. I'm like, I think you're in this seat. She's like, oh no, I think it's pick your own seat. I'm like, I don't think it is. I'm gonna have to get the flight attendant.
Who are you flying with, Armin? They don't know how
Oh
to
my
do the
God.
exit rows. They don't know how to look at the seat number on their ticket.
I'm a budget traveler, John. If I can help it, So that's why, like I said, I don't know what it's like to fly private, okay, to the Indiana Fever. I see you got little snacks and stuff.
You might get to watch some of it on Peyton Manning's Full Court Press
There you go.
show that ESPN's doing about Caitlin Clark and company. Also, that's getting announced another season following her, and Paige Becker's around.
I'll watch it.
They already did
Maybe.
one season. They said, oh, okay.
Well, I might make sure I have to watch
Sexist.
my other stuff. Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's fine. No, that's fine. Whatever, dude. We get it. 414-799-1973. It's 9 to noon on the game.
Girl, you're
here goes out to all the babies, mamas. Baby mamas. Yeah.
Maybe should be the anthem for Mother's Day.
I'm sorry, Miss Jackson.
Yes, this should be it, right?
One of the all-time greats by Outkast here. Gotta love Miss Jackson. 414-799-1973. Nooners. Sorry, I was unfamiliar with your game. I didn't realize that we had so many Nooners, John Armin, that were first-class flyers.
Well, apparently, look at this. I mean, wow.
Goodness gracious.
You guys are
Also,
living a different life than me.
I love Sheila in Milwaukee is one of our favorite texters because she always comes in with some good perspective. She goes, "Yeah, I was afraid to turn in for private charters when she was working at Midwest Express, and I assure you, there's no other way to fly if you have the option." Because she was assigned to private charter flights when she was working there as an attendant.
This is awesome
for Midwest Express. Now, not only for the one of how many cookies did you take, right? Like, I mean, like that is my question whenever Midwest Express comes up.
Knowing we have Sheila, a former Midwest Express flight attendant, I love knowing that because I can only imagine how great it would have been because Midwest Express flying already was amazing experience.
Oh, it was great.
So you're talking about a charter by them? That was the best carrot in the air. That was their tagline. It was so true. I miss that airline all the time. We were living in Halcyon days and we didn't even know it. To have an airline like that is our hometown. I love Midwest Express. So yes, I'm sure she's correct on that. I'm sure it would have been worth it for their charters. Yes.
There have been some sad days in Milwaukee, but if I remember correctly, watching the WISN news right after Oprah in the kitchen, because my mom was a religious Oprah viewer, right? When they were announcing the AirTran purchase of Midwest Express, I mean, this city was
very sad.
Was very, very sad.
Yeah.
Not only because we love Midwest Express, John, we like chocolate chip cookies. I mean, like, we are a simple people at the end of the day. The cookies were just A1. 414-799-1973. As we continue our conversation that has rolled throughout the day, you get to change with one athlete for one day. Who are you picking? We've had fantastic responses throughout the day on the NicoletLaw.com talking text line. Many people still weighing in on the Bronny conversation after we mentioned LeBron James and said, "Hey man, what's this guy up to?" And Brad Sheboygan, the NBA should ice out Bronny. Screw LeBron. Nobody wants to see him and his son play together. Would be nice if LeBron just got out of the NBA altogether. Sick of that guy. Guy's annoying. Wouldn't be good business for the NBA. Would be big business, though, for Brad and Sheboygan. He'd be a big fan of it.
Huge fan of it.
He'd be a big fan of it.
Well, I'm not saying ice Bronny out. I'm saying there should be a team. I mean, you said the Hawks are the number 1 overall pick.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
you're saying take it. You said number 1 overall?
Well, I mean, if it's going to get LeBron James.
The only thing I'd say is this is a bad draft, or they're saying this is a bad
That's
draft.
my point. It's a bad draft. They're
Yeah.
saying it's a bad draft. Would you not just grab him and say, "All right, LeBron, let's go"?
Yeah, there's no chance. Because I still, as much as LeBron wants to play with his son, I don't see him going and playing for the Pistons. Right? Like, he's not going to go play for the Charlotte Hornets. But
if they draft Bronny,
yeah, that's why I'm saying, like, I don't see it being the only way I'm playing next year is if I play with Bronny.
okay, so let's take him out of the first round. Then.
Or like the only team I'm playing with is.
Let's take him out of the first round.
Mhm.
You're not just going to dump a second round pick. A lot of these second round picks end up being
Yeah.
G League guys anyways, or guys that you stash overseas. I mean, you could do that. You could just, use a second round pick on Bronny and say, all right, LeBron, come on. Let's
Yeah, we
go.
got a great bargaining chip. No doubt about it. And with the draft, John, being before free agency, you could actually be able to sell it to him. Like, I also, like, this is the part of for the NBA business model that it would be horrendous for. He's going to be the most discussed 52nd overall pick of all time. Right?
Yeah. Yes.
Like, I understand number 1 picks have come in with insane scrutiny. Like, this cat is going to be the most scrutinized second round pick of all time. There's nobody else that people are rooting to potentially see fail than him as the 58th overall pick in the draft. So, like, the eyes and attention that you're actually still going to be able to go to when, I mean, hell, Nikola Jokic was the 36th pick. And while they announced him to Denver, they were showing a cheesy gordita crunch commercial, right? Like, so nobody's watching the second round of the draft anyway.
That's a good item. Man.
They're making it on the second night. Really, the only reason that it's interesting now is because, all right, we'll actually see if Bronny gets drafted. But there's also so many people that want to see him fail that you'll get hate viewers for that exact moment. Nobody else is driving that kind of attention.
There's a storyline there, no doubt about it. Yeah. Now, the idea of taking him just to get Bronny, it's a risk, right? Because you might not get Bronny, or you might get the version of LeBron you don't want, because it's going to happen one day.
It's going to be
one day.
It'll end up being a drafting trade, probably.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're probably right.
What do you mean this one day?
LeBron's bionic. It seems like he'll never stop being productive, but one day he has to.
So you think he's going to stink sometime?
One day, unless he retires earlier, then he does stink, right? Which I don't think is going to, I don't know if it's not going to happen, but I don't see it happening.
I think he's going to play a max 2 more years.
Okay. Yeah, I could see him playing 3 more if he's still playing well, at least. I don't see why he'd stop. I really don't. Unless his only goal was to keep playing with Bronny, and once that happens.
Yeah, I also would love.
What about the other one coming up, Bryce? What is it, Bryce?
Yeah, and Bryce is probably the best player, or the better player. But I'll be honest with you here, and you know what? This is ultimately a conversation nobody else is gonna know. I would love to know if there was a conversation, John, between Bronny and Bron, and said, "Pops, I love you. I'm 20 years old. I'm gonna be going in the NBA. The last thing I want to do is being chaperoned by my dad for 6.5 months, right? Like, I mean, like I do kind of want to go.
Know, unless LeBron's the coolest dad ever, unless he's like Grammy is, and he's like, come on, let's go party together. Let's go out there
right? Like,
and let's kick it.
Dad, son, you're really going to go use a fake ID to go into that club? Well, Dad, everyone else is going. No, you're going to sit at home. And you know what? Better yet, you're going to go to the facility and shoot 1,500 shots tonight. How about that instead? While we go and drink this expensive bottle of wine. Like, I love the idea of being, Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr., but I also wonder if Bronny was like, hey, Dad, with all due respect, can I just like live my life? Can I go to Charlotte and try to get 8 to 10 minutes a night?
But I think that's safe for after he gets in. Because if it wasn't for his dad, would he even get a shot in the league?
Very good question.
I think that's the problem. So eventually he'll be able to do that, but he'll never be out of the shadow of his dad.
But he did. He definitely did impress at the NBA Combine. The 40.5-inch vert was like in the top 5 of guys at the Combine. Whatever their 3-point barrage was, whatever their event is, I think he took like 2nd or 3rd. And I'll be honest with you, I gotta like the NFL Combine. I really do, because I'm an NFL draft nerd.
Yeah,
I couldn't care less about the NBA Combine, as bad as that sounds. Right, like I mean that to me is as much flyover territory as possible. Now,
I just wish they did the NBA Combine like Hoosiers. Get down, we're running suicides. We're gonna see who actually lasts in this thing.
Dribble around
now
the chairs.
Now we're gonna touch the backboard as many times in a minute. Ready, go. You know what I mean? Like actual drills that you do in basketball, like high school basketball. Show me what you got in this thing.
Dribble around the chairs.
Like a good AAU tryout.
Yes.
And then you got a couple of guys in the stands, that are like former middle school and high school basketball stars that were dads from like 5 years over.
Right.
A team for Kuhn, the B team for Schmid, Sarian, A team manager, right? Like they're like writing up all the notes in the back, and that they're judging every single. Looks like we might have some breaking news here, Armin.
Uh-oh.
I saw it too.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Kevin Sweeney, SI now. Green Bay is expected to hire sports talk radio host Doug Gottlieb as its next head coach.
It's happening.
Gottlieb has hunted for college jobs for years, now gets an opportunity at Green Bay, where he interviewed last year before eventually the job went to Sundance Wicks.
Wow. Because like I said, I remember this being a storyline the last times that Green Bay had openings. The UW Green Bay is that possibly he would be in the mix for the job, and everyone kind of raised an eyebrow. So the fact that it's actually happening now.
Well, this is great. I'm going to be able to confront Doug Gottlieb over courts and bounce and whether tackiness affects shoes.
Yes.
Remember when we got in that Twitter beef with Doug Gottlieb? When
I do.
Who was it? Somebody got hurt. They slipped on something at the Final Four. Who was it that got hurt? Baycott. Didn't Baycott get hurt in
Armando
the Final Four?
Baycott, and then the planks of the court were moving.
Yeah.
Right, or something like that. Yes.
We'll be able to confront him officially on this.
That's outstanding.
I find those old tweets, man.
I just want to know if he's doing the show. Right? Like, I mean, if it was as locked in for him last year, I wonder if they're allowing him to continue doing the CBS or the Fox Sports radio show. I mean, that's hilarious if you're just doing it from the, hey guys, I'm in my new studio, which is actually my head coaching office here at University of Green Bay. Just hanging out, answering your calls on Fox Sports Radio. Like, that's fantastic if you're able to do that.
If you're Green Bay, I don't see why not, right? You want to get juice and buzz for your program. You want to potentially find somebody, like, even if you find a good coach, Sundance Wicks left, so I don't blame them for trying. And if he's willing to do, I mean,
Ellie French also
blame
says
him.
it's source telling me that Gottlieb has been offered the UW job and has accepted. Announcement expected to be made by the university today. Green Bay assistant Pat Monahan, I hope I'm pronouncing that name correctly, also interviewed for the job. So it was targeted search. And it kind of has to be when your coach leaves in the middle of May and
it's a
you're right
weird
now
time.
like 2 months behind on everything else.
It's a really weird time. You're right for coaching carousel stuff. You're absolutely right, Billy. So
Wow, that's fascinating. That is awesome, and that will be a lot of fun to watch. You think Bart Lundy at UW Milwaukee is going to have more of a problem with Gottlieb than he did with Sundance Wicks?
Maybe not.
Damn,
I just
kind of hope so.
Are we
I
all
think
still
he
going to call
loves
him
it.
Gottlieb anymore? We can't do that anymore. Took away one of the greatest nicknames you had for people. Out
Coach Gottlieb. Your second.
Sorry, Freudian slip.
Pardon me. Your second half defense adjustment there. Wow, that is fantastic. That will give us a lot of good fodder. And I can only imagine Mike Heller is going to have something to say about this because we mentioned Brian Butch, we mentioned Doug Gottlieb. There is some good history with that back and forth, and Mike Heller knows every bit of it. And I assume, John, he is chomping at the bit to get on here at 12:50.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, that's his thing.
That's fascinating. That is awesome stuff.
I love this. I love it. It's
Yeah,
gonna
I'm
be
a
really
big fan
interesting.
of it.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of it. It's been a fun day. It's been a great one. And we are just rounding third, heading for home. Maybe we'll have some more news before we get out of here about the Packers schedule that could be coming even sooner than the schedule release tomorrow. It's 9 to noon on the game.
Still have love for me, girl. It's easy to love me now.
9 to noon on the game with the NBA playoffs here. It is time for you to finally download the Underdog Fantasy app and get in on their NBA Pick'em game. I've been telling you about this using promo code Billy, BILLY, for a couple of weeks now. And when you sign up, your first deposit of $10 or more up to $100 gets matched. Plus, you get your special pick. Best part about the Underdog Fantasy app, it doesn't just stop with NBA Pick'em game. NHL Pick'em game for the playoffs. MLB Pick'em game, that's my fiance's absolute favorite. All you do is pick between 2 to 5 players to build out your Pick'em entry. Select higher or lower on player stats, and if your picks hit, you can win up to 100 times your money. Last night, I'm sitting there just before tip-off of Celtics and Cavs. My fiance walks up to me and goes, honey, you do any underdogs tonight? I'd like to know what to cheer for. That's what you do. You get invested with everybody in the house.
That's true.
Thanks to Underdog Fantasy and Underdog Fantasy app, because it is so easy to sign up. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. Concerned with your play, call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
All right, guys, it's official now. Rothstein, Fanta, 2 minutes ago, have tweeted that Doug Gottlieb is finalizing an agreement with the next head coach at Green Bay, barring something unforeseen.
Yeah.
He'll be the Phoenix's next head coach. Official announcement expected soon.
And my man Kyle Malzahn was just tweeted out. He's like, I heard some of the chatter last night. It's official. He wrote it up at wearegreenbay.com for Channel 5, CBS up in Green Bay. But how about this throughout it now? Jeff Goodman has the answer that we've been looking for.
Okay.
Set to hire 48-year-old Doug Gottlieb as their next head coach. Standout point guard at Notre Dame before working in the media for the past 2 decades at ESPN, CBS, now Fox, hosting his own daily radio show. Gottlieb will continue to do his daily Fox Sports radio show.
There you go.
Was in the mix a year ago to take over. Sundance Wicks got it. Now gets the job. So now he's got 2 full-time jobs.
Right, and he didn't want to take a pay cut, right? Because he would have had to by just coaching. Now, how is that going to work doing the radio show and coaching a D1 basketball team?
No, you just move practice.
You just talk about your team all the time.
It's a lot of work. He's going to spend all this time in the portal, but you're right. I mean, he should get a lot of pub. Green Bay's got a daily radio show now for about their team, right?
Could he get in trouble for saying things
a lot
on the air?
Yeah, I mean,
You know, I didn't like the way the referees were calling the games, in the Horizon League, and this is why.
Yeah, I'd love to know how much he actually brings it up, right? Like,
great
I don't.
question. How much coverage is? I mean, this program could get big.
Don
coverage.
Martin's program in Fox Sports Radio been doing it for a while, right? All due respect, I think Don Martin's going to feel like saying, "Hey, Doug, we don't care about the Horizon League right now, right? We want to know some more NFL." It's like, well, coach, we just got hosed last night. No, we want to know about Week 14 in the NFL. All right, so let's stick to the script. I just love that back and forth of like, hey man, that's not what we're focused on. Or if they just eat it up. And what about the NIL opportunity here? Right? I mean,
that's another thing. Yeah.
If you're Green Bay, you just watched a couple of one young freshman DJ ended up entering the transfer portal yesterday, right after the Sundance announcement comes through. I don't know. Maybe it keeps some of those kids that were flirting with the idea of trying to latch on somewhere late in the portal window to say, I'll give it a shot. Seems like it'll be fun. That's for sure. It's going to be so much fun to witness. Like, I am thoroughly entertained with what we're going to be able to watch for the next year.
It's a dangerous proposition, right? The exposure could be fantastic, but it could also blow up in your face.
But isn't
it definitely has risk reward written all over.
But isn't it more lower risk for UW Green Bay? I mean, I don't want to say they don't have. It's just when you're at that level, you have to take the chance for something like that to happen for you.
Like Jeff and
Did you just ask if it's more of a risk for Green Bay or Doug Gottlieb?
No, I'm saying, isn't it? You say it's a risk reward scenario for Green Bay. Isn't it a lower risk scenario for them than like a University of Kansas or a Big Ten school or something like that?
Yeah, by far.
I'm just saying, Green Bay has notoriously been on one of the lowest paying jobs in all of D1. They don't have as much money to pay coaches as some other ones. You take a chance.
Why he's going to continue doing his radio show.
A big name. I think you take the chance like that it could help your program, that you get attention, get publicity, get some juice.
I like this from a season ticket holder, Jeff from Luxembourg. Our Quick Trip takeaway of the day brought to you by Quick Trip. Need something for dinner tonight? Do not cook. Stop by your local Quick Trip, pick up a freshly prepared, absolutely delicious take-home meal you might even find.
Spaghetti, chicken Alfredo, potatoes, salad. He likes to stick to what he knows.
Jeff in Luxembourg, I'm a season ticket holder for GB. I love it for exposure, but hate it as a basketball coaching move. It's either going to be great for exposure or a complete dumpster fire. I'm not sure what to think. I think there's a lot of people that are in that boat, but that's kind of why we watch reality television, and sports are the best reality TV out there.
And my point is, what's the risk if it's a dumpster fire? You move on, you hire a new coach. At that level, you're doing it anyway.
You just
all the
had
time.
a good coach for a year, bring you the most exciting
Right.
you had for a while, and dip in May.
That's the thing. That happens all the time anyway. So you might as well do it. And we haven't even talked once about his coaching acumen yet. Does he know the game?
Instead, everybody wants to bring up his credit card
That's it.
situation.
That's
All
it.
right, we get it. He was 21 years old, got in trouble. Guess what? We all do dumb stuff when we're 20 years old. He's 48 years old. I think he may have learned a little something for it. And Gottlieb has been coaching like a crazy amount of AAU basketball.
Right. I mean, if you think he knows ball, which I think he does, this could be good.
Brian Butch going to get a call for an assistant job? Or is he going to redshirt him for that assistant job?
I think that.
Correct me if I'm
Get
wrong.
Brian in the
Herman.
mix. Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Doug Gottlieb was the one that says hoopers always have two balls in their trunk.
I
One
think-
for indoor,
One for outdoor.
I think
They
that's
always
him.
have two pair of shoes and a duffel bag
Yeah.
ready to go.
Yeah.
Hoopers hoop.
And he's
That
going
is
to be.
him. That was him. Yeah.
Could you imagine him just schooling some college kids too if he can still play? He walks around that radio row and at the Final Four like he absolutely owns the place. I'm excited for it. I'm going to be watching and I'm going to be signed up for it. For John Kuhn, Armin Sarian, I'm Billy Schmidt. Thanks to all the Nooners on the NicolaLaw.com talking text line. Crazy business we did here today. Thanks to all the streamers watching us and all of you on the Game Radio Network. We'll try to be better tomorrow. Mike Keller's next on the Game.
The situation, I got the bases in. I'm kind of stingy, that's why I don't want to win.